Thank you for joining another edition of Hoops Hidden Gems podcast. I'm your host, David Jones. Thank you guys for tuning in as usual. Episode number 64. We're coming up on our 2-year anniversary next month. Appreciate you guys as usual. Tonight, another great show as usual. Star-studded event. Got some guests that I'm excited to get on because I like to educate as well on this show. And our first guest is from a JUCO Division II school. We have Coach Daryl Watkins from Rock Valley College. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for having me on today.
Oh man, we appreciate you coming on. And man, I thought it was going to be a great look for you to come on for a number of reasons. Number one, you just had the big JUCO Jamboree up there that,
Yeah.
maybe some people outside of the Midwest don't know too much about. Let's touch on that a little bit. So you had the Rock Valley Women's JUCO Jamboree up there. And how
Yes,
did
I
it go?
did. It went really good. We had 27 teams competing in it. It was 28 teams that were originally scheduled. 27 competed in it. It was a great day. Games started at 8 a.m. and they completed at 6 p.m. with the last game starting at 6. There was numerous levels of competition here from NJCA Division 1, NJCA Division 2. There were 2 NJCA Division 3 schools, and then there were 2 NAIA programs there on the day, competing on the day too as well. So it was
Okay.
a great day. There were a bunch of 4-year coaches there recruiting the event, and that was really great for us, I feel like.
Man, that sounds like a nice event, and you got some good exposure there, for a lot of those players, like, of course, your own, but those other 27 teams, you have to be seen by a number of coaches as well. And I wouldn't be surprised in the next couple days to a week or so, you might be tweeting out about some offers that are, put out if they haven't went out already.
Yeah, I know a few of our kids got some good offers from the event. I'm pretty sure some kids from other programs got some great offers from the event. I mean, like I said, it was a great day of basketball. Byron from Preps Girls Hoops was there scouting it out as well too. He did a nice write up, and it's going to be coming out here shortly as well. So again, like I said, it was just a great event. It was a great day to showcase junior college basketball and to show, try to break that stigma of junior college basketball as well
Yeah.
too. Getting people out to be able to see this and see that it's talent at all these levels.
So let me, I want people to know more about Rock Valley. Like the JUCO Jamboree was a very good look, and we connected that way when I started to see more about Rock Valley's JUCO Jamboree. But tell us some
Mhm.
more about Rock Valley College, basically.
So we are a NJCA Division two program. We just transitioned to Division two this year. So we've been
Okay.
a NJCA Division three program for our previous history. Talking about for our program in the last 11 seasons, we've won 300 games. So that's a 27 and a half win average in those 11 seasons. We've won 11 of our conference championships, 11 straight conference championships in that time. We've been to the national tournament 9 times out of the last 11 seasons. We've competed in a national championship game 6 times out of those last 11 seasons, winning
Wow.
4 of them. So we've won 4 national championships in those last 11 seasons with a 3rd place finish. And then last year we made the national tournament as well too and didn't place. But just being in that national profile over the past 11 seasons has been really huge for our program. We've built up a great rapport with 4-year coaches. We built up a great rapport with other junior college programs across the nation. To when we were at the Division III level, we were respected. D1 programs were playing us, D2 programs are playing us. Usually you look at those and like, we're not gonna play a division lower than us, but we had the respect of those programs, and they wanted to play us knowing that they were going to be good battles, knowing that they could lose those games as well. So they weren't afraid to put us on their schedules.
I like that. I like the sounds of that. So, for a lot of the audience that are not familiar with the difference between JUCO D2 and JUCO D3, on the JUCO D2 level, you can offer some scholarship money, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And in your opinion, what's really the difference between JUCO D3 and JUCO D2 from a playing standpoint? Do you see any difference or?
Uh, for us, I would say no, because we were going out and we wanted to play the best of the best. For us, it was no. We always recruited kids that we would always recruit higher than what we felt like our level was. So we were going after kids that technically, if you look at it, it's like there's no business that kid should be at Rock Valley, or there's no business this kid should be playing junior college basketball, anything like that. So that's how we always recruited to our program. So for us, we looked at it as there's really not that big of a jump because we always went after kids at a higher level to play for our program. Across the board, it's been great because now we're hitting on a lot of student athletes that probably wouldn't give us the time of day because we weren't scholarship institutions or anything. So now we've hit on some of those athletes, and we're just keeping this thing rolling right now. And we're seeing the level in it. We're competing at a high level right now and just getting rolling. This is, like I said, our first season being a D2 program, so we're going to see how things are going for us.
Okay. So one of the bigger things I always like to talk about, especially from a JUCO perspective, and you guys are well respected in the Midwest, so that means you placed a lot of your young ladies in the 4-year institutions, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, correct.
And in a number, not just D3, NAI, D2.
Yeah, we've sent kids across the board. In those past 11 seasons, 90% of our kids go on and play scholarship basketball.
Right.
And when we say 90%, like that's not a number we're just hinting on. That's an actual number. So, you got that 10% of kids that might go on and play Division III basketball, or those 10% of kids that just say, well, man, I've got my associate's degree. Now I just want to start working, or, you have certain kids that get into certain programs or career programs that, they can no longer continue playing because it takes such a demand on their academic side of things. So when we say that 90%, that's a legit number that we're giving out for our kids that are going on to play scholarship basketball, whether that's NAIA, Division II, or Division I basketball at the NCAA level.
Okay. And so let me ask this. So what type of degrees does Rock Valley offer?
We offer your Associate of Arts degrees, which can cover anywhere from education, arts, anything that we offer Associate of Science. We also offer applied science degree in the nursing programs and everything as well that way. So whatever you plan on basically studying at your 4-year institution, you can come in and you can get that associate's degree in that field and continue to move on to that 4-year level.
Okay. Do you also have technical programs as well?
Yes, we do. So we do actually have some technical programs that are going on here. We have some career fields that you can hop into. We just got a new aeronautical program that's going on at our airport now. So you can come in, you can work on the Boeing airplanes as well. We have an engineering degree in which we partner with Northern Illinois University here. So a kid can get a 4-year engineering degree right here on our campus through our partnership with Northern Illinois. We also, like I said, have some other career tech fields and degrees that you can get, electricians and different such. We have dental hygienist programs, fire science, where kids can go in and be EMTs. Also the nursing program, like I said. So there's a lot of good things going on our campus.
That sounds good. So it sounds like you also have partnerships. If you graduate from Rock Valley, it sounds like you can automatically jump right into Northern Illinois and probably some other 4-year schools, correct?
Yes, correct. We have the IAAs, which is somewhat of the Illinois. It's a partnership with Illinois, with the state universities in Illinois, in which I want to say it's 90 or 95% of our credits transfer everywhere here. With that agreement. And when you get your associates, you're basically getting that, and every single thing's for the most part going to transfer on with you. And that's not even just here in the state of Illinois. That's, with a majority of the universities across the nation as well.
Okay, good. I like that. So it sounds like, Rock Valley is also high on academics, which I commend you guys on, as well as being, a very athletic school as well. So let's talk about the upcoming season. It's going to be that year in JUCO D2. moving on up from
Mhm.
JUCO D3 and, going to make some things happen. What's the roster looking like for this year?
We're carrying 13 active kids. 10 of those are incoming freshmen. So we have 10 incoming freshmen. We have one redshirt freshman on that roster as well too. And then we have 3 returners. Well, 2 returners. Two from our team from last year. One of them being Cameron Blank, who was a first-team All-American, averaged 19 and a half points, 10 and a half rebounds, shot it at 47% from the field, shot 31% from 3. And averaged about 2.5 steals and 2.3 assists, I think, per game. So she did about just everything for us last year. And like I said, she was a first-team All-American. She was a top 40 JUCO player last year, no matter what the division was. Then we returned another in Jaden Newsom. And then we have a transfer that came in as well. Her name's Emily Rich, and she came from a region team as well, where she averaged about 17 and a half points over there too. So those are our kids that have played at the college level, and then we got a really great batch of incoming freshmen that came from some talented AAU programs and some talented high school programs, and I mean they're mixing in with our kids right now, and I feel like as soon as they figure it out, and they're doing the right things right now in our jamborees. We've been playing well, and as soon as it clicks completely, we're going to be, I feel like, a really good team.
So, and the young lady that you mentioned that was the first-team All-American, by chance did she play in the JUCO Top 40 event in Atlanta?
Yep, she sure did. Yep.
That's what I thought.
She
When you
played. She played
mentioned
in
her,
that
I
event.
said that name sounds familiar, and I was at the event. And as soon as you started talking,
Yep.
I said, "Boy, that name sounds familiar." I remember her now. She's going D1 probably.
Mm-hmm.
She's probably going D1, and I'm glad. Go ahead.
Yeah, she has some interest at that level. She has some really good Division IIs on her as well. She has some really good NAIs on her as well. The good thing kind of with Cam is, and granted, she has aspirations to play at that level, but with her, it's about best fit, and that's how she feels about it. And she's a really good player, and we preach that with all of our kids. You got to go to the best fit school, whether it's D1, D2, NAIA, whatever it is, you got to go to that best fit. And, she's a very humble kid. If you were to speak to her, she wouldn't even let you know that she's a first-team All-American, top 40 JUCO kid. She's so humble. She doesn't carry herself that way. She just goes about things as a regular person, blue-collar athlete, and she gets after
it. And listen, her play speaks for itself anyways. That's number one. And number two, she can play. And I'm so glad that this almost just kind of stumbled into this conversation because, a lot of people have the misconception that are thinking they're in the know that if you don't go JUCO D1, you don't have a chance to go to a Power 5 or a D1, which is not true, which is totally not true. And you know that. And I'm so glad you brought that up because, we have people that are at JUCO D3 levels that are going to really good school, 4-year schools. And like you said, you nailed it when you said it's about the fit. And, and a lot of people don't understand there's some really good D2 programs that will knock off some D1s.
Yeah, there are. I mean, like I said, we've gone out and in some of our better years, we beat D1 programs, D2 programs. 2 of our national championship years, our teams were 32-2. Which was actually my first year here. And then my last year here as an assistant, we were 33-2. So the 2 best teams in program history. And we beat D1 programs, beat D2 programs. Obviously, we beat D3 programs, for those championships. But I mean, those years, our only 2 losses in both of those years were the D1 programs, NJCAA D1 programs. So, I mean, just that right there alone, I mean, says it, there's competition, there's talent level at each of these levels.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, do you play any other JUCO jamborees outside of your own?
Yes, so we played in Illinois Central's JUCO Jamboree, which is down in East Peoria. Illinois Central right now, the rankings just came out today. Illinois Central is the number 9 team in JUCO D2 right now in NJCAA. So they're the number 9 team. We go down there, we play in their Jamboree. Our region has Morden in it. So Morden came out. They're the number 2 team in the country right now. Bryan and Stratton is also in our region. They're the number 5 team in the preseason poll right now. Kirkwood, they're on our schedule early here in November. They won the national championship last year, and they're the number 1 team in the country right now. We play them in November. So, I mean, just looking at our schedule, we play Moberly, who's ranked in the top 25 of D1 poll. We played them twice on our schedule this year. So, I mean, we're going out, and we're not afraid to go out and play the best of the best. So we're trying to line our schedule up within, obviously within our budget, within our travel constraints, and going from there. And again, we're not afraid to play the best of the best.
I like that, because that means you'll be battle tested come February. That's what that means right there.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And, and they go with a good conference schedule as well. Even stepping up, I don't expect you guys to miss a beat. Now, let me ask this. And, do you with the climate changing, have you been approached from quote unquote drop downs from 4-year schools to come to Rock Valley?
Actually have. Especially like you said, with the climate changing, it's actually opening it up for the high-level high school kids that are going under the radar, or no one's that's pulling the trigger on them because of the transfer portal, or because of this extra. I think it's either this year or next year. Is that last year when these COVID kids are actually going to be able to take advantage of that year. So the high-level high school kids that are kind of missing their beat on some NCAA D1 stuff, we're actually getting lucky on some of those, having some of those kids on campus. And that's where I'm starting to see the trend. That is those high level high school kids that have been going Division I fresh out of high school, they're kind of missing their beat on some scholarship opportunities, and they're trying to wait and see. And they're testing the waters in junior college right now as well too.
Yeah, I mean, you hit that right on the head. But you said something earlier that really piqued my interest, because I go to jamborees all over the country, and I was down in one in Florida this past weekend. You had 2 NAI schools there. You typically don't see that much.
Yep. So in previous years, we started this jamboree back in 2014. We had 12 teams in it there. And again, like I said, we grew it to 28 teams this year, and this is post-COVID, 28 teams this year. And we've had NAIA programs, playing it. They have those same rules where they have dates in which they can get scrimmages. And at that point, as a coach, why waste a scrimmage date or a scrimmage day on just one game when you can come in and you can see more. You can get 3 games in a day in that date, and you can get so much out of that day against different looks, against somebody else that doesn't know your looks, your sets. Your kids get a chance to play against somebody else, because we all know it. I mean, my team was tired of beating up on each other for the 2 weeks of practice they had. So It was good to get out there and actually practice against someone else, scrimmage against someone else to get a different look. And those NAI programs, they can take advantage of that same exact look too, and getting those scrimmages in. And we opened it up to everybody. Obviously, the NCAA Division I's and D2, they can't sit and watch those games in which they're playing against some of those JUCOs. But again, they can still be in the building. They can still recruit. They just can't watch those 4-year games. So, I mean, It works out. But, and those coaches that are coaching in the event, they're right there. They turn right around and they recruited at the same time. So
exactly. And I was thinking too, like, okay, they're going to go ahead and scrimmage. Okay, they can't watch these games, but please believe whoever they're playing, they're looking right at those kids, especially if they perform well, whoever they're playing. I think that's genius. To be honest, that's the first time I've really heard of that. And man, that's a great look right there. I commend you guys for that. And that's big, especially the Midwest ones. I mean, I've been out to the Midwest JUCO Jamboree on the men's side. That's in Southern Illinois. There's one out on the women's side out in Hutchinson, Kansas. That's a big one on the JUCO D1 side. But I wanted to start coming to ones that had JUCO D2s, JUCO D3s as well, because that exposure, and there's, to the point that we talked about earlier, there are kids that can play. Yeah. And like you said, they go under the radar, but what makes me excited, and when we connected, because to your point, now because of COVID and the transfer portal, it's not you're getting leftovers. No, you're
No.
getting some really good players. And let me ask you this, because that's another thing that people had a misconception of. You go out there and recruit. I can tell by the way you just told me when you're at AAU events. I know you're at some AAU events to see, hey, because when I went to Run for the Roses this year, there was a number of JUCO programs there.
Yep, I was there too. So I coach travel ball. I coach travel ball, and then I double up on it myself too. And I recruit the events, and I'm sitting right there with those D1 coaches, those D2 coaches, and
Mhm.
I sit there, we talk, and I pick their brains on a lot of things. I try to figure out which kids are going to slip through the cracks. I try to figure out which kids that I know might need to be placed at a junior college. And granted, like I said, I'm not trying to recruit Rock Valley like it's a junior college. We're trying to recruit Rock Valley like we're an NCAA Division I program, and that's what's brought us success over the years, and that's what we're going to try to keep doing here too.
And I love that philosophy, and with the academics, with that you talked about earlier, you're probably going to have some parents that are watching this probably try and reach out to you. And with that being said, how can they contact you on Twitter, or what would be the best way for them to contact you?
You can contact me on Twitter. On Twitter is Coach D Watkins. So that's my Twitter hashtag. Our women's basketball account is at RVC_WBB. So you can reach out to us via those, and that's the same for Instagram for the RVC women's basketball account. And then, like I said, or you can email me at d.watkins@rockvalleycollege.edu. So one of those methods, you can reach out if you got kids that you want to kind of send our way, or that we should take a look at. That's the easiest way to get a hold of us. Me and my staff, we'll take a look at it, we'll evaluate, and then we'll kind of go from there as well.
So, and now another big question as well. For the athletes that are out of state, is it out of state tuition that goes with it, or how do they do it?
Our kids get in district tuition. They have to move in by a certain date. The thing is, we can't provide housing. We don't have housing, but our kids live in apartments. So, we help them out with that a little bit. We point them in the right direction, and they make their decisions based off what's best for them. And then by the time they're moved in by a certain date within the year, they get in-district tuition. So then they get our in-district, in-state tuition, which is a huge write-off. And for us, cost of tuition for 32 credits. A kid can go to school here at Rock Valley when it's in district. They can get 32 credits in a year for just about $4,000. So,
you said $4,000?
Yeah, for about 4,200, maybe 43 after fees and everything like that.
Right, so, but you're telling me, okay, and for the audience that's watching the show, I want you guys to understand this. If you give a little bit of athletic money, which we won't even get into what you offer. That's for whenever you talk to them, because a lot of times that's budget related. But let's just go with the basics. If you're full Pell, you're covered with no problem, right?
Oh, if you're full Pell, you go to school here for free without even touching athletic money. If you're full Pell, if you're an Illinois kid, if you're full Pell, then it's another grant called the full MAP grant. You're going to school here for free. You're getting money back in your pocket. It's a great thing we got going here. And with Pell rising as well and MAP rising as well, with these grants rising, that's more money that's kicked back into your pocket.
Absolutely. And so one of the bigger things that I've been really on lately is a lot of these prospects. I've been pushing parents, apply for merit money, whether you're Pell eligible or state grant eligible or not. It would make sense if I could say, hey, Coach Watkins, I'd like to come to Rock Valley. I'd like to play ball. I got aspirations of going to a 4-year school. Let's just say I'm a 3.4 or 3.3 student, and my parents and I have applied to a number of outside merit grants. So we have $15,000 in merit money or $10,000 in merit money. Let's just say that along with full Pell. So now when it's time to get that apartment, to your point, that's totally taken care of.
Everything's taken care of at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, you're getting money back in your pocket. The way we like to do it, and I know a lot of kids, they want their own space, different things like that. We tell them, when you go to a 4-year school, guess what? You're going to have a roommate. So, we tell them like that. We like to do a dorm style living, and then it cuts off that price of those apartments even more when they do it that way. So then that's an even bigger chunk back in their pockets at the end of the day, which a lot of parents look at it and you should see the smiles and they smile on that face. Oh man, you're making my life that much easier, coach. And, especially when they hear it that way.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And now let me ask this. So a lot of times with freshmen, a lot of them are coming from situations where they were quote unquote the player on their team. So when they come to Rock Valley, it's time for a little humbleness, correct?
Yep. Our practices are tough. I mean, they can tell you right now, they probably hated me all last week of how tough it was, and just of reality checks for a lot of them. But we also preach to them every single day. We know you were the best of the best where you came from. We know you were probably the most athletic, the fastest, the biggest, the strongest, whatever it is, wherever you came from, you were something there to, a reason why we recruited you. Now we're all in that same melting pot. Now each team we compete against, they all have that same number. All these kids were the best of the best. And what we preach for our kids is, I get it. You're here for a reason. You're here to get your education. You're here to play basketball. You're here to get re-recruited. It's one plate, and it's one plate big enough for all of you to eat off of. So that, we don't have to have any selfishness. Everybody can eat on our plate. And in our program, everybody can eat, and it can be anyone's night. And we preach that, on a daily basis, that it's one plate for all of you. In the moment that we keep everybody fed and everybody's continuing to eat, our program continues to be successful.
So from an academic standpoint, do you have tutors available for these young ladies?
Yes, we do. We do have tutors, and that's all free within their cost of tuition for our school. We have academic advisors. We have our own academic advisor who deals with our athletic department only. Her name's Betty, and she's great. I mean, from day one, she's on top of it, doing their academic mapping, keeping them on track for graduation, whether that's with an Associate of Arts or Associate of Science. Going back to, like I said, we have tutors. We have the Writing Center. And we have our My Math Lab. So we have our own math department that has their own tutoring department, which is separated from everywhere else on campus. So, I mean, there's some great things going on here.
Man, all of that sounds impressive. And so in your own words, and I always like to ask this as well, what separates Rock Valley from these other JUCOs that, of course you're good. That record speaks for itself. But when you're out, trying to get the next young lady, high school, JUCO, or transfer, or whatever, to come to Rock Valley, why Rock Valley?
So like you said, from just talking about our history, our program, things we do, continue to win, that speaks for itself. But once our kids get on campus, it's a different feel. We have a beautiful campus. It's a 4-year campus. It's not your typical junior college campus where it's 1 or 2 buildings and that's it. We're spaced out. We're sitting here looking like a 4-year university with how our campus kind of looks and has a feel. Our facilities, our athletic facilities. Right now, I'm down in the basement. The light cut off earlier. That's why it's a little dark over here. But I'm down in our conference room. Our conference room has a bunch of mannequins in it with all of our jerseys on there from all of our different sports. It has the banner behind here. We have a huge lecture hall in which we watch film. We have a great athletic training facility over here. Our fitness lab in which where our weight room is great. Our actual game floor is amazing. Our facility, it holds just about 5,000 people when it's at max capacity. There are some games where we get it full to max capacity on a daily basis, on a game basis. I'll say we're anywhere from it can be anywhere from probably about 600 to about maybe 1,000 people. And that's what's been as of recently, because we have some really good local kids around, and, they're drawn in from the town. Rockford's a basketball city. So everybody here likes to come and watch basketball. So it really draws really well when we have games.
Okay. So one of the other big things, and I want to make sure this is touched. We'll just go with the last 2 years. In the last 2 years, what four-year schools have you sent your players to?
In the last 2 years. So I have two kids at NAI programs right now. Actually 4 kids at NAI programs right now. In 2020 and 2021, we didn't actually have a season. So it was a gap year right there. Then I had, like I said, from 2019, 2020, we had some kids leave out, went NAI in that program. So they took advantage of having 3 years left and went on. And then right now, like I said, we got 4 to 5 kids that are being recruited from anywhere from mid-major NCAA Division I all the way down to Division II and NAIA right now, with offers on the table and everything as well too, with this roster right now.
Now let me ask this as well. Do any D3s come in there and take a look?
Yes, they do. And our kids are open to it. And we tell all of our kids, you don't ever not respond to a coach. I mean, and again, it's fit. We have two kids that are still playing NCAA Division III basketball right now as well too, and they're having the time of their lives, getting a great quality education and continuing their basketball careers as well. And like I said, we have a bunch of D3 coaches that come in the gym all the time. They sit in our practices. They drop in on our open gyms. They drop into the jamborees, and they recruit our kids. Heavy NCAA Division I schools do as well.
Okay, nice. And as we're wrapping this up a little bit, let me ask this. And I always like to pick your brain. I mean, it's obvious you are passionate about this. You're at the AAU events, you're at the Run for the Roses, you're doing the jamborees, you're making sure your kids get in school. What's kind of the goal for Rock Valley year in and year out?
Our goal is to compete at the highest level, year in, year out, especially when we're at the D3 level. It was us getting to the national tournament and competing for national championships year in, year out. And that's the mentality that we're taking to the D2 level as well, to compete year in, year out. This is that transitional year, but I can probably speak for our team. I know for sure I can speak for our coaching staff. We all have dreams and aspirations getting back to that national tournament and competing for those national championships. Not saying that we're going to win them, but we want to get there, and we want to try to make a bang in this first year and compete for those at a high level right now.
I like that, man. Just listening to you, I'm always encouraged because, the stigma that people have that, oh, you're not, a Hutch, you're not a Moberly, and, I hate to say this, some people that aren't educated about this and, that don't know about Rock Valley, some of them will have those type of, looking down to say, well, thanks, coach, and they have no idea, like you said, this may be the fit for them. And you guys do just as good a job as placement, because for me, yes, winning is big, don't get me wrong, but that placement, a percentage, is just as big as winning to me. Yep. And if you're getting those kids in four-year institutions, like you said, whether it's D1, D2, D3, or NAI, that's what this is about, man. And let me add, and there's one question I just thought that just really hit me. One of the things I'm starting to see now, have any of the Canadian schools start reaching out to you?
I've had some connects with Kia Nurse, trying to make it work. That it's kind of weird how that goes, how they get that 5th year where a lot of those kids could leave after 4 years of high school, but then they can take the 5th year, and it's kind of weird. I'm trying to open that door up a little bit. So we've had some connects with Kia Nurse, had some connects with some other Canadian travel ball programs up there as well. Hopefully one day we can get that door opened up and create a little pipeline coming from down that way or up that way as well too.
Hey man, and listen, we pretty much covered it all right there. As soon as you said you have that, you're looking at that as well. That lets me know you are very well-rounded, man. And I commend you, man, for the job you're doing up there. I can't wait to get up there and take a look at the facilities as well as take a look at the program. Okay.
I appreciate that, David. I mean, granted, Martin Luther King weekend, if you don't have anything going on, that would be a huge weekend to come up. We got Highland Community College from up in Freeport, Illinois, NJCA Division I. Moberly's coming up that weekend to play. And then William Penn's JV is going to play. So this is the first time we're putting on a Martin Luther King Classic. They're going to come play in our event. We're going to play Moberly and William Penn. Same thing with Highland. They're going to play Moberly and William Penn, just in a round robin type event. And we're going to kind of go from there. And, we're going to try to build this even as years go forward.
Absolutely. And I've had William Penn's coach on the podcast as well. She's great. She's great.
Coach Santi's really good. She recruits our kid Tabby. She gets it. She's been around. She played at Penn herself, so she's a good player there as well. So, she does good things.
Hey, Coach Watkins, listen, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. Thoroughly impressed with the job you're doing up there. Man, it's going to be hard for them to keep you up there if you're winning like that and you keep this program rocking and rolling like that. You're going to be a hot commodity in a minute, man.
No, I'm a very humble man. I enjoy being here. I really enjoy being here. I'm a Rockford guy myself. Not saying that I wouldn't take good opportunity, but I'm a Rockford guy, and you got to work where your feet are at. I'm a firm believer in that. You got to work where your feet are at, and don't look at the grass is greener on the other side, and make your program what everybody wants to be. And I'm a firm believer in that. And that's how I'm going to work and rock. And, we're going to leave it to that a little bit there too.
Listen, it was a pleasure. One last time before I let you go, for the people that are watching or will be watching this on YouTube, how can they connect? Because I'm sure I'm going to get a number of texts saying, hey, tell me some more about Rock Valley.
Coach D Watkins. So Coach D Watkins, and that's the Twitter, or you can go at RVC_WBB, and that's our basketball Twitter page, and that's also our basketball Instagram page as well too. Either one of those accounts, or you can reach out to me at my email, d.watkins, so d.watkins at rockvalleycollege.edu. I respond back. I get back to you. Our assistant coaches get back to you when you reach out. So, we're open, we're ears here. We're always looking for the next best thing. We're always looking for, that hidden gem, and it's perfect that, that's the name of the podcast. We're always looking for that hidden gem and to give these kids a platform to be able to continue to be successful.
Hey, listen, Coach Watkins, you'll always be welcome on this show here, man. Thoroughly impressed with what you guys are doing up there, and I appreciate you coming on the show tonight, okay?
Well, I appreciate you, and granted, I wouldn't be here where I'm at right now without my former boss who was here. Her name's Misty Opat. She's down at Coach East Community College right now, and she's doing a good job down there as well. And that was my boss for 5 years. Taught me everything I know in this game for the most part. And, like I said, I wouldn't be where I'm at today without her.
Listen, and I'm glad you did give that type of salute to someone, because we all had somebody that got us to somewhere, and acknowledging it is even better, and being humble, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, listen. Definitely, man. Listen, this won't be the last time you'll be on the show, man. I like what you're doing up there, man. We could definitely stay in touch. As a matter of fact, we'll be staying in touch about some of the hidden gems as well, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, man. You take care, man. We appreciate you coming on, okay?
All right, thank you, and have a great blessed week.
All right, you do the same. Coach Watkins, listen, definitely impressed with what he's doing up there at Rock Valley. I can't wait to see it for my own eyes, to see what they're really doing up there and get to look at those facilities. Our next guest, as usual, it's that time of the month, basically. This segment's being brought to you by the Sports Factory. For any of your sports medicine needs, check out the Sports Factory. And right on cue, we have Dr. Erin Hassler. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How are you tonight?
Hustling. You know how it is. Hustling.
Yeah.
Just got back from Orlando late last night. Had to work this morning. You know how it is. Getting ready to go to Pittsburgh this weekend, excuse me. And just running. You know how it is.
Yeah,
And, we
running.
stay in touch by text because you all over the place. I'm all over the place. But I wanted to bring you on because it's preseason and all these kids are starting to gear up. Fall league is winding down and they're getting ready for the beginning of the season. So we want to talk some sports medicine to get ready for the season.
Okay. So you're right. You're right. It is.
So what is, and yes, so I wanted to ask myself, because I'm curious, now that fall league's over, you got basically about 2 to 3 weeks before they start playing some preseason games. It's kind of a lightweight, relaxed, but you still have to work and get your workout and get your shots in. What would be your regimen, in your opinion, right now for these 3 weeks? It's kind of like a cool off period, but you're still got to rev up to get ready for the season.
So part of it is just being realistic with the sport. This sport does not take an off period. It kind of doesn't. The off isn't. It's an active off period. It's an active rest. So, if coaches are giving off days, there has to be something that you're doing that's focused on the outcome that you expect. So, yes, rest is important, actual physical rest, sleeping a little bit more. These kids, some of them get up very early in the morning and they don't go to bed until late at night. But actually being very specific about the goals you're setting. This is a good time to lay those things out, not just on the court, off the court. So that would look like, this podcast is more toward, connecting with college coaches and recruiting and that process. That means that your audience, most of them are going to think that they want to go to the next level. So let's lay out what that looks like. Have you taken care of your SATs, your ACTs? Are you communicating with your counselor at the school? Are you communicating well with your teachers? Why? Why are those important? What does that have to do with recovery? Everything. It takes the weight off of you so that those things are in the background doing what they need to do while you can focus on what you need to do. One thing that I think kids don't really think about, and it adds stress later, is communicating with your teachers. Creating that dialogue early. Yeah, remember, every teacher doesn't like sports. You might think they do, but they do not. They do not. And some may go out of their way to prove to you that they don't care about it. So if it's important to you and you're those kids that sit on the bubble of a grade between one grade and another, take the stress off. Talk to your teachers early. Give them a schedule early. Tell them, hey, these are the days that I know we'll be playing late. I know I have your class first period in the morning. What are some things I can do so I can be ahead or I can be on top of it when I come so I'm not caught off guard? Being proactive takes a lot of pressure off of kids, because what you don't want to do is play this game and then now you're stressing about a class. You won't be focused going into the game.
Absolutely.
Especially on a tournament, because you're leaving school early. You're leaving school early. So that's I know I'm giving you stuff that's it's recovery, but it's not recovery. It's just use this window to your advantage so you can minimize the amount of stress you have, because once you start on the coach's schedule, your time's not your time.
Time is limited. Yes.
Your time is not your time. Go ahead.
Let me ask this as well. And there's one other thing I wanted to add since you opened that window as well. It's October, people. Fill out your FAFSA. Fill out your FAFSA. All of you all are not going D1. A number of you are going D2, D3, and NAIA, where some of them give out partial scholarships. And they're going to ask, is your FAFSA filled out? Because they're going to try and package your scholarship money, whether it be athletic or not, with academic money if you qualify. But you can't wait till January, February to fill out your FAFSA. That's a bad look. And
money's gone.
You talk about stress. You talk about stress, you'll be stressed then. So that will affect the sports medicine part because you'll be stressed, you won't be sleeping, you'll be up at night. You could possibly lose an offer because you're not prepared. And all of this stuff does tie in. Proper rest. Now you're stressed out. You're staying up half the night. You're like, oh, I'm not getting the looks. Or you lost out because you didn't take care of business in September and October. So all of this plays a part. I know we were going to the left a little bit, but it does tie in.
But to me, everything's connected. And I think that may be part of the issue when you're looking even from a sports medicine perspective is separating it out. This over here doesn't have to do with this over here. If a kid has an injury, you need to watch that kid, especially if it's something that keeps them out longer than 3 weeks. You really need to tap into that kid because they may be slipping in their grades and no one looking over here. You know, if you're isolated here from, let's just pick something. Let's pick something general, something that's common, an ankle sprain, right? So an ankle sprain, you know, initially it might look like it's a week that they may be out. Then the week turns into 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Now we're like, okay, if you don't have an x-ray, when we need to get one. Okay, if the x-ray shows something that may prevent them from coming back that 3rd week, you got depression, that's a possibility, right? Isolation because they can't participate with their friends or wherever their group is. Now you got to work to try to keep them motivated, engaged, and it depends on the school. Sorry, this is a siren outside. It depends on the school. They may or may not have a coach that says, "Hey, every practice, whether you're playing or not, you show up." They may be at a school that says, "Well, you're not playing, so I'll see you when you get cleared." Exactly. We're coming off of 2.5 years of isolation. Do we need to isolate kids again? You don't. You're looking for kids to do certain things, and there's certain markers that you think juniors and seniors should have by a certain point, but they've had the pandemic for the last 2 years, so that isn't. There's some delays and some gaps that you're going to see, even if on the court it looks like they're not there. There are some there. So from the recovery perspective, and right now in this preseason, this is a good time to take a self-inventory. What are the things I need to work on? Who are the people that can help me get there? Whether it's on the court or off the court, what are some things that I need to do so that I can be ready, be focused with no distractions? You know, if your room is dirty, clean your room. You know, simple things, you know, simple things. I cannot speak more on mental prep than anything else. Like, it's just really, really essential. Laying out your clothes for the week. You play basketball. You ain't gonna wear that many different things. It's always gonna be the same group of things.
Yeah.
You know, twice a week you're gonna be in a uniform, in a practice uniform. So that leaves 3 days a week that you can probably come up with an outfit that's different. Lay that out.
So let me ask this. Let me ask this. You know, as my mind is spinning, so you know, like I said, we're getting right in the preseason. You know, fall league just ended basically last weekend for a lot of teams in a lot of different areas. How would you go about your training regimen? Would you change it at all, or would you start gearing it up to get ready for the season? Or would you just kind of keep it the same that you might have had going into the past couple of weeks for fall?
Well, I mean, if you have fall ball, you've been going. On some level, you've been going. Every school wasn't the same. You know, some schools were able to navigate that off season a little bit better than others, or maximize the workouts differently because their staff size is bigger. You know, with the ratio rules, that staff size is a little bit bigger, so they may be able to do a little bit more than other places. But I would say this is that one window you can control that isn't dictated by everyone else. If you've been in the weight room, you can still go to the weight room, but it's not about overloading right now. You want to be fresh, have fresh legs when you're going into those Some people are going to have tryouts. I think that most teams will have tryouts by the end of this week, end of next week. They will have tryouts. So you want to be fresh, even if you think you're already on that team. Coach is looking for you to be fresh. You can't come in sloppy, because there are kids that are hungry that would want to come take your spot. If they look better than you in a tryout, it may be hard to justify your position on that team.
Absolutely.
As far as the physical aspect of that, pool workouts are good. Pool workouts offload the legs. You know, you can still get some resistance in. It doesn't have to be every day this week or next week. Maybe twice during that time period, so you can see how your body responds when you're not loading heavy. Foam rolling is good. If you have massage guns, those are good, but you know how to use them. Don't just get a foam roller. Don't just get a foam roller and just say, "Oh, I got a foam roller and I just rolled on my arm. That was good." Just because you got your hamstrings didn't mean you got everything.
Yeah.
So those are some things that I would definitely include, but also getting used to hydrating. Not when
that's
you're
always going to be important. Yeah.
Don't wait till you're
thirsty. Down those cramps.
Do not, because you're in preseason now. You did not go all out in a fall ball game. We know you didn't. There's no way you went all out every fall ball game. You didn't, because you knew it wasn't a real game. People might have been coming to look, but it wasn't the real game. When the competition really comes and you have to leave everything on the floor every single game. If you've had a tendency to cramp in the summertime and in fall league, then you definitely are not ready for November.
So outside of hydrating, let's just say that is the case. Outside of hydrating, what would you recommend?
So in school, some schools have rules about carrying water bottles around and things like that. So at lunch, fruits that have more water in them are good to have. If there's a locker and there's a place you can keep a water bottle or something in your locker, okay, do that. But every chance you get to go by that locker, you need to drink up, put it back in. You know, every school has a rule on what they allow kids to carry around and what they don't allow them to carry around. Parents, donate to the team. If everybody donated a pack of 24 water, they're good. Some coaches will let a kid come by the room at lunchtime and grab a bottle of water. If that's the stuff that came for the team, then that's stuff that came for the team for their use all day. You know, just there are ways to get around not having enough water.
Okay. Okay. Now, once they get in the season, so like I said, season's like three weeks away. Once the season kicks in, what would be the routine to keep them, quote unquote, flexible, hydrated? And, you know, of course, during the season, you're not going hard from a workout standpoint, but what would be your recommendations to kind of keep those injuries to a minimum? You know,
not waiting until the team starts doing it. When coach says practice starts at 5:00, then you should have been there 4:45, warming up, getting ready, some dynamic stretches, some static stretches. Everything doesn't have to be plyo kind of jumpy, hoppy stuff, but you do need to make sure that your body is warm. People think because basketball is an indoor sport that you don't have to do the things that you would do out. You have to be warm because every gym is different. Some have AC and some don't have AC, and some. So you prep all the time and you practice in a fully AC building, and then the game you go play is somewhere in a hot box.
Absolutely.
Who's going down first? It's gonna be you. It's gonna be you. So getting in there, give yourself an extra 10, 15 minutes. Hey, friends, it's season now. I can't hang out after school. I gotta go straight to the gym and be ready when coach is ready. Be ready.
Very true. Very true.
Coming home from practice, A lot of kids come off the court, no stretch, no cool down. They just know it's time to go. They leave out and they go get in the car. It's either air conditioned or now the weather is changing, so it's going to be cool on the way out to the car. Now,
that's a good point you brought up. Cool down. Let the audience know what's an effective cool down. That because so many of them take it for granted.
Yeah, so you got an hour and a half practice. Jog the court a couple of times. You know, you're allowing your heart rate to come back down to a normal rate instead of a sudden stop. Okay, you're allowing the muscles to cool down instead of an abrupt cooling down. Some teams have foam rollers, some don't. If you have your own little personal foam roller, okay, keep it in your bag. Foam roll a little bit before you leave. And it's okay to start at that point to start putting on sweatpants and warm pants to keep your legs warm on your way out, especially if you're gonna have to go outside in the cold. And then stretching. That would be a good time to partner stretch.
Okay.
You're saying an extra 8 to 10 minutes. You guys can rotate out. Let's these 4 to 6 people do this part right here. Everybody else go put the balls up. We swap out. You know, today we get to go first. Tomorrow you guys get to go first. It doesn't have to be an all or none. Everybody doesn't get what they need. You just rotate out and communicate.
Absolutely.
And drink up.
So one of the last questions I want to ask as well, what's a good regimen as you go through the season as well?
So I wouldn't change it. What you're doing in the preseason, you do throughout the season. How you start, that's how you finish. A lot of times, things are implemented, and then when you get to schedule changes, and they wanted us to get on the bus a little earlier, and we left, we got there, and we got home a little bit later. Make it the same all the time. Don't change it.
Okay.
I wouldn't change it. How you practice is how you play. Typically, right? That's a general statement. It's not a rule, because we love our AI, we love Allen Iverson, we love, I get it. But everybody's not like him.
That's true.
So until you're AI, then you can't say that. So you practice the way you want to show up in the game. Being lazy and I'll do it next time. This is the one that gets me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right, everybody. We did it. 30 seconds in and out. Like, what? Not even ready.
You're right.
Yeah. So how you want to show up in the game needs to be how you show up in practice.
Absolutely.
Not staying up late at night.
Oh, now that's rough for them teenagers. Yeah. Those video games will be on and popping on Friday night.
It shuts your core down. Like, you're literally in this position, but I need you to jump out of here. You don't know how to recruit this because you've been sitting like this all the time. You lose 2 inches on a jump easily.
Good point. That's a good point. Listen, I appreciate you as usual coming on. Like I said, we're going to slowly build this to where Dr. Hasler has her own little 30 minutes of knowledge. And she's going to have her little podcast. So I need you guys to stay tuned, because this is only a tune-up to some of the very important stuff that she talks about to me, to some of the kids, that is going to save a lot of you guys injuries, parents, some of you insurance costs as well. And it's going to keep you guys healthy. So that's why I have her come on at least twice a month. And I appreciate you coming on. And listen, I know what the next time you come on, we'll be right close to the season jumping off by that time.
So 2 weeks. Oh yeah, that'll be game week.
2 weeks from now is preseason for Georgia. That'll be preseason 2 weeks from now.
But I mean, what's the first week we can play? What would that be like?
November 11th. November 11th is the first day they can play a real game. November 6th or 7th is where they can play, preseason games.
Yeah, 6 is a Sunday, so yeah, Tuesday would be
So
that
the
first.
7th, that 7th will
8th,
probably.
Monday.
So that whole week, that's what I said. It's here. It's here.
Yeah.
So
we both will be in the gym for sure. I know, and I'm sure will we meet? Have we looked at the schedule? Will we meet?
No. Midtown is. Are they 5A?
Oh.
I think they're 5A.
I'm in mom mode. I'm not in that mode. I don't even need. I don't even want to know. I'm just like,
Midtown is 5A and Lakeside is 6A. So now outside of
what we've done already,
just coming to support. Yeah. Just coming to support.
Check DJ out. We can come see him play.
Oh, we gotta see what X is doing, because I'm sure we may see. Depends on, because you guys haven't set your Thanksgiving and Christmas schedule up yet. So whatever events you play at,
I know it's blocked off. I just don't know what it is, but
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's always support right there. And with X being a high academic, I'm definitely expecting some high academic schools to start sniffing around.
Yeah, I think so too. I appreciate that. I
Definitely.
Appreciate that. And he doesn't look like that anymore. little bit, not quite, but yeah.
He's gonna tell you to take that down.
He'll still be able to still figure out who he is. The eyes are the same.
Well, Aaron, as usual, Dr. Hassler, as usual, I appreciate you coming on to the show, and we will talk soon, probably in the next 2 weeks, to have you on again, okay?
Okay, I look forward to it.
Okay, you take care, okay?
Thank you, and safe travels.
Definitely. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon, okay?
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Right. You're welcome. That's Dr. Hassler, as usual, giving some good tidbits to keep you all healthy. Listen, and I'll speak for my own knowledge. My son sprained his ankle, and she was the one that was on me after he sprained it. She was the one that taped it up and all the good stuff. And she was texting, asking, is he doing X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z? Sometimes I take it for granted, but it helped him in his recovery as well. Our next guest, man, I'm excited for this guy right here. Hometown connection, definitely, Pittsburgh, PA. Recently acquired head women's basketball coach at Carlow University. We got Coach Dave Gordon. How you doing today, brother?
What's up, Dave? What's going on?
Man, you know how it is, man. I'm so happy for you, man. Congratulations, man.
Very proud, yeah.
Yes, sir. All day, every day.
Thank you, man. I love
what you're doing
with this Hoop Hitting Gym podcast. I love what you're doing, creating that exposure for our youth, man. Hey, thank you, man, and I appreciate you, and thanks for having me on, brother.
Oh, man, anytime, man. When I got the news that you got the job, I had to reach out. I was like, oh, man, whatever I can do to help, man. Listen, I know, this is your first year, so you're getting everything acclimated. You're getting a late start. But,
yes,
I mean, I feel like people got to get to know Carlow University outside of the Pittsburgh, Ohio area, so you can get some of those good, good recruits to get things rolling, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, we have a good thing. I mean, Dave, being from, Pittsburgh, and what we got going on at Carlow, man. Excellent, medical programs, nursing, from forensic psychology to perfusion technology. And a lot of your guests probably don't even know what perfusion is, but what perfusion is they run the machine that oxygenates the blood while a person's heart and lungs are being worked on. So it's a lot of good programs, and just, how Pittsburgh is, it's just we're in a medical hub for, the medical field, man. So a lot of good things that you can study here at Pittsburgh, and also take on to the regions that you live in. Like take that on to Atlanta, take that on to California. We have some players, some ex-players of mine that I've had, man, and on the men's side, man, that's up in Philadelphia doing big things. That's locally here in Pittsburgh doing big things. That's in Texas doing big things. Not only big things in just big things in general, but big things in their career. And that's what you want to go to college for, man. You want to use that basketball to actually, be a bridge to the next 40 years of your life, man. So that's all we're trying to do, man. It's a great program. Like we like to say, you get to be on a D1 campus while playing D2 ball, man. Because we're right next to the Pitt campus. I mean, summertime we play against those dudes, and even during the season, man, we play D1 teams. So it's a great
Absolutely.
atmosphere.
And for people that don't know, I'll take it even further than that. I mean, you have Carlo, you have Chatham, you have Carnegie Mellon, you have Pitt, and then you have Duquesne that's probably about 5 to 10 minutes away. So you're talking in that little stretch right there, there's a good 50 to 55,000 students right there. Let alone there's Oakland Catholic, there's Central Catholic, and there's Frick right there. And on top of the hospitals that are right there as well. It's a busy area. It's a busy
Yeah.
area. Go ahead. What were we saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you didn't even talk about our conference that we're going into, the AMCC. You haven't even talked about the LaRoches, the W&Js. That's kind of outside of that, where there's a lot of good rivalries on a D3 level. That's right here. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, of course, because you're from up here, but the Westminsters versus Carlo, the CMUs versus Carlo, the Chathams versus Carlo, like atmosphere right there in Oakland. Like, you know what I mean? An atmosphere right there in the heart of this academic hub, as I like to call it. You know what I mean? Being surrounded by all that. Just imagine one day, man, close your eyes and imagine this, where Pitt and Duquesne plays their city game and us in Point Park plays, or us in LaRoche plays as a precursor. So it's a lot of good things, man. Pittsburgh is a basketball hub. And like I said, I'm so excited that you're doing this, man. Like, because it really is.
Listen, and what people fail to realize this year, Carnegie Mellon is ranked 6th preseason for D3.
Yeah.
Coach Sloan and them are doing a really good job over there. Like, a lot of people don't even realize that conference, they're in one of the toughest D3 conferences in the country, in the UAA, where you got Emory as a traditional power. They're a blue blood, basically. They're going to be in the tournament every year. Now Carnegie Mellon's making some noise. You got NYU. You got Chicago. You got Wash U, who's a perennial power as well. And to be honest, that city game that you mentioned, I think it's going to be the Oakland game when you start talking Carlo versus CMU. That's going to have some folks there, man.
Absolutely, bro. You know how it is, man. Like, everybody think Pitt and Duquesne or Pitt and Robert Morris, man. But we got some things going on, man. There's been a lot of battles. I'm talking on the men's side right now, but we had a lot of battles with, Point Park. I mean, even when you talk about the men's side of Carlo University, man, we've had a lot of battles, and we don't duck anybody. Like, I mean, we've played D1 teams, and we went down to Miami. Like, actually, they're about to go down right now and play St. Thomas, and you know what I mean? We played D1 teams last year of JMU and VMI. So it's a lot of, we're playing a lot of D1 competitions to put us on the map, bro. Like, we really are. You know what I mean?
And so, and that's going to lead right into our whole conversation. So with you coming onto the women's side, I know you're going to try and spread that culture that you're talking about from the men's side over to the women's. So what are you going to be looking for on the women's side when you're looking at prospects?
Well, I'm looking for multiple diverse SAT girls, like smart, athletic, and tough. Because, I mean, I like a lot of dribble drive. I like a lot of position flexibility in a way. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm going to space the floor, and we're going to look for people that can be a ball handlers, people that can tack the closeouts, and people that can shoot the ball. You know what I mean? Honestly, to sum it up, that's what we're looking for.
Absolutely. And so I want people to understand, and coming to Carlo, that's going to be the expectation in the culture, but also the academic part is going to be very important as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you said, it really is, man. One of the biggest things that I do, and I take this job more important than coaching, is actually the compliance coordinator job, is actually setting people up for the next 40 years of their life. So I always ask them, like, what kind of job do you want? How can I help you get your job? You know what I mean? And Pittsburgh's an excellent place for that, whether you're in the medical field, whether you're in the business field, or whatever you're in. Pittsburgh is a nice hub that, provides a lot of internships and a lot of opportunity for our students. So that's one of the things that I constantly try to push to them how can I help you get a degree? And not only how can I help you get a degree, how can I help you get that in 3 years? And you're studying for your master's in that 4th year of eligibility. That's a goal for me. You know what I mean? So
absolutely. And I'm glad you just touched that with you being a compliance coordinator. I got a question that I'd like to ask you. So we're starting to see a lot of kids that are doing homeschool and doing online school. Is that going to be a problem per se? So, because we know those classes have to be, NCAA certified. Have you ever came across a situation where some of those credits don't add up and it may hurt the prospect, so to speak?
no, not really, because a lot of times and I can't think of the test, but there's a test. It's kind of equivalent to the SAT or ACT for homeschool students. So basically,
Mhm.
what it does is it grades them or kind of rates them on what they should have taken in high school if they wasn't homeschool. So a lot of times, what we get is we get a lot of students that actually take that test, and this ain't something that's new. I mean,
Okay.
like Dave, Jason Taylor that went to Woodland Hills and Rob
Yes.
Gronkowski, they were
Hmm.
homeschooled, but they played for Woodland Hills, so they took that
Yes.
same test. I'm sorry, I can't think of the name of that test right now off the top of my
Okay.
head, but you know what I mean. But they took that same test, so I don't see it being a problem for students
Okay.
that's homeschooled. And I think for us as coaches in higher education, we kind of know that that's coming. Like we know that the charter school sector is getting bigger.
Yes.
We know that the Catholic school sector is getting bigger, and we know that the homeschooling sector is getting bigger. I mean, for whatever you think about it, that climate is changing, and we know that that there's a lot of top athletes that kind of goes to be homeschooled but play for certain schools, and we know that we gotta, that's a stone that we gotta turn. Like we gotta get underneath it and get a lot of good players. Like for example, like I'm gonna talk on the men's side. We had a young man a couple years ago, Trey Harvey. He didn't play with Pittsburgh Sealy School in Alderdice. He went to Nazareth Prep, which is a charter school that you might know about, but it's a charter
Yes.
school. And he did well. And and he did well here at Carlo. So we just gotta constantly kind of turn that stone over, man. And I think the days of going traditional recruiting is over. Like you got to sit there and look at you got to make contacts with AAU coaches. You got to make contacts
Mhm.
with parents that may be homeschooling their students. You got to make contact with, pastors and things like that. That got connections with students in church league. I mean, it's
Mhm.
such a vast thing, man. And I look at it for me who don't know the women's side, but that's my whole gist of trying to, as I came together into this position, is making connections. Like I said, making with you, making it with other people around the area. It's all about connections of it. So it's just a different breed, man. And on top
You're gonna
of
be fine. You're definitely gonna be
well,
fine.
yeah. I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm
worried
not
about
even
it.
worried about that.
I'm not worried.
Once you get those
But
feet wet,
Dave, it's all about connections, man. It's all about building
exactly.
that relationship. Because right now, even the players you have, man, you gotta retain them. So you're
Oh,
not
yeah,
starting
yeah,
from the
in this
bottom,
day and
right?
age, yeah,
Yeah,
because they'll
that
hit that
transfer
transfer
portal.
portal in a minute.
Yeah, that's something, and you can improve or hurt your program with that transfer portal.
Hmm.
You know,
Now, that's another question, and I'm glad you just kind of brought that up. Does Carlo really, will they take JUCOs per se?
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay,
But we're real specific. Like I'll be honest with you, we'll be, it would be better for a freshman coming in because there's more aid that we can give them. But
got you. Okay,
JUCO, we do have certain aids, but I'll be honest, like a lot of times you get more aid as a freshman coming in because there's a lot of merit scholarships, other academic scholarships based on your GPA and things like that, or regional where you came from. Our transfer scholarships is a little bit, less. I'm not saying
okay,
you can't get a good package, but I'm just saying it's a little bit less. I always
okay.
recommend, man, like my thing is, and what we did with men's basketball, my thing was to recruit a freshman, develop them, utilize them, and graduate them. That
Exactly.
was always the key.
I agree with
And
that. I
especially
couldn't
that
agree with you
local
more.
area where you can get them on campus and you can get them working over the summer without having to pay that housing costs or what I mean. So that was
Hmm.
always our plan of attack.
And another great point that you brought up. So Carlo likes to do a little summer workout for basketball, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's something I wanted people outside of the Pittsburgh and Western PA and Ohio area to know more about, because a lot of people, they hear of Carlo, or they'll say, especially down here, I'm like, where that's at? Or it's in Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
or tell me some more about it. And so now I thought this was a great opportunity, for people to know more about Carlo, and especially with you being on the young ladies side. For you, like you just said, you hit it right on the head. It's about you getting to know the AAU directors. It's about you knowing the high school ones. You don't have to hit, a bunch of the good girls live periods. And once you do that and you get your feet wet on what you prefer and what you don't prefer, by this time next year, you won't be able to answer everybody. That's just how it's going to be. And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to discourage anybody from contacting Coach Gordon, but as your name gets out there and as more people start to find out more about Carlo and what Carlo's about, trust me, there will be a number of people. You'll look at your DMs and then to go from maybe 25 or 30 right now, then there'll be about 150 or 200 in there. And as we
Yeah.
all know, with your schedule, that's not going to be possible to catch everybody. You're going to try your best, and I understand you're going to try your best, but people that are watching this, he's only one person. And with him only being one person, those are just DMs. We're not even talking about people that get his email address and reach out to him. Unless you're going to have a GA or a student assistant, ciphering through, because now let's not get it twisted. There are some hidden gems that send you stuff, as well. So you don't want to miss out on that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Absolutely.
at the end of the day, like, there's no way you can look at 400 DMs and 150 emails every day and you're trying to game plan for a rivalry game or a conference game or, a conference playoff game. You just can't. You just can't. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that, man, because this might be a chance to clear the air. Even, on a district level or D3 level, it is hard. Like, you know what I mean? I'm coming from the men's side, and like literally, Dave, you would get maybe 60 emails a day of somebody, of players that, you know what I mean? And you try to go through them all, but one thing you got to assess is, can they help us right now, or are they better than what
Exactly.
we have right now? And and some of the things that helps me is people like you, because one, you were not going to send me somebody that you don't feel is worthy. And this is where I always tell a lot of coaches, like, if I give you my personal cell phone number or something like that, make sure you send me somebody that's worthy, because if somebody can't play. If you're sending that person and say, all right, I'm trying to get that person just to school so I can build up my reputation. So you
There
know
you
that.
go.
Like, you know what I mean? And people like you, Dave, you know who can play and who can't play, and who, like, you know what I mean? So a lot of times, and this is where I always tell people that your AAU coaching credibility is coming to play with this, because if you send me a player every week that can fit on that level, and you send me a template email, you know what I mean? Can they really fit on that? I got a guy that can fit on you. I can't tell you, Dave, how many 5'3" guards that can play on our level. You know what I mean?
But I'm
then
so
they say,
glad you said that. And that's what people fail to understand. And I'm just going to put it out there, for guards that are between 5'10" to 6'1", how many of those emails do you get?
oh, man, bro, I'll tell you on the light side, I mean, this is just underestimating. In a day, maybe 32 of a guy that has undersized but have heart of a gold, heart of a champion, the intangibles. I mean, if I send you some of these subject lines, like it's crazy, And then they say, you know what, they can play in your conference. And then sometimes I follow up with them and say, well, tell me 5 teams in our conference.
Oh,
And
they can't tell you.
they
Can't
can't
tell
tell me.
you. Oh, but they feel like he's an impact player and play right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And don't know anything on your team. Don't know what you run. Don't know if you're running half court sets or you like to get up and down the court. They can't tell you any of that, but they can tell you this guy can play for you.
They
How?
can play for us. Yeah, they're an
Mhm.
impact player for us. So you know what I mean. And the funny thing about it is, what upsets me is it's like you kind of the players that we have, you sleep what they're doing. Like you know what I mean, the process that they're putting in, and it's funny
Mhm.
because you bring these guys in for like workouts and tryouts, and they'll go against our guys on the team, and literally our guys will bust their butts because
Mhm.
it's like you're really sitting there like these emails, you're really trying to put them in the category, and it's like our guys are college athletes, and granted, you know, times our record, we struggle with our record, but they're still college athletes. And
Mhm.
the random student just can't go beat them playing. Like you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it really is just that. Like so,
But they
I mean,
lose
it's just
credibility,
crazy.
is what you're saying, because they send you the canned email. This guy can do this, coach. I really feel like if you bring him on campus, he's going to be all conference by next year. Yada yada yada. You can't answer that. You don't know the conference. You don't know the school. You don't know the players. You don't know any of that. But in the same sentence, you're sitting up here telling the coach whose livelihood depends on taking somebody's word so they can bring them in and then take a look. They're not taking any of that into, you know, any type of consideration, any type. Like all they know is coach. So they can go out and, like to your point, said, oh, well, I made a phone call and got him to Carlo just off of my call. Don't work like that. It
Yeah,
don't work like that.
and the worst part about it is like you're doing a kid a disservice because I've seen a lot of kids. It's like you know that coach is an excellent marketer and that high school coach is an excellent marketer and an excellent roster constructor, and they have a good year and they put that kid in a position and that kid go D1 or D2, but then when that kid falls out, they don't say nothing about that kid.
Oh, you
They
forgot
don't,
about him.
you
Forgot
know,
about him.
yeah, they don't say nothing about it. And Dave, you know me, I'm one of them guys. I have an AU program. I don't talk about the guys who went to school. So we have guys that went to college and played football at Michigan right now. We got guys that's playing at Gannon playing football. Like we got guys all over that's playing, you know, football, basketball. But basically what they are is good students and they're getting their degrees. Like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's what we push. But you know, you have, you know, AAU programs and people that just want to push, well, I got that dude there. I got that kid there, that male or female there. And it's like
Mhm.
when they fell out because they shouldn't be there, you know what I mean? Because once we get them there, we might watch your little highlight tape. We might, yeah, come on. They might fill a spot because, you know, let's keep it real. D2, D3, there's numbers we got to fill too. Like it's tuition driven. I'm gonna be honest in case your audience don't know that. There's tuition driven. So when you talk about your bottom half of your roster, that 10 through 16, that 10 through 20, that developmental squad, like you know whatever they call it, you know whatever university call it, that's the tuition side of it. And then there's also a side of it where you know I mean even the full ride in AI schools, they say they have a discount rate that they got to bring down. So they say for
Mhm.
every scholarship person they bring in, they got to bring in one walk on that pay full tuition to bring that discount rate down. So there's a lot of tricks that people do. And it's like, yeah, we'll bring your kid in. And these AAU coaches kind of get caught up in that. And it's not the best situation for their student athlete. You know what I mean? Because you got to understand, us as coaches, we're like, hey, I got that two guys I want to give a scholarship to. You know what I mean? But I need about four guys to pay for their scholarship. And
Yeah.
it's like, come on, like, hey, let me grab. I know they can't play on that level, or they'll never play on that level. But I need to get this dude in. Like, you know what I mean? So that's some of the
Hey,
hidden
that's
tricks. And
facts
I
right
want to be
there.
transparent, but that's some of the
Yeah.
hidden tricks that happen. You know,
Yeah. And like you said, to your point, there are some schools that have that JV and they'll have 20, 25 on that JV. And you'll be like, that's a lot of
yeah,
kids
yeah,
on
yeah.
JV.
Yeah, and they don't tell nobody, but their roster's full of 30. You know what I mean? And they're like, well, why? But that AAU coach, they got them signed. Like, you know what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
so I kind of laugh at that, but I'm like, man, look, you know, I know what we do at Carlo, what we do on the men's and women's side is we care about these kids getting degrees, man. And you know,
Mm.
even if kids don't pan out on the court, and don't take my word for it, Dave, ask a player. Like, you know what I mean? We have, if you stay 2 years, we have 100% job placement rate and the graduation rate. So we get them kids degrees, and some of them kids, don't pan out on the court, but we don't turn our back on them. But the same token, the way we do things, we don't have to. I'm not going to say another school that, have to get the discount rate down and things like that. I don't have to deal with that, but there's schools that have to sit there and say for every walk-on, that's where you have them big JV teams or reserve teams, or, you have those big teams where they're recruiting 60 kids on a basketball team. They got to get their discount rate down. We don't have that. So
I like that. I definitely like that. Absolutely. And so what are some of the majors that stick out at Carlow where, a lot of the student athletes or just in general that, people come to Carlow to take?
Oh, well, a couple of top ones, Perfusion Technology. We're one of, at the time that I looked at, we're one of 9 schools that offer a perfusionist where you can get your master's in that. And the average starting salary is about $76,000. And what a perfusionist is they're a person that oxygenizes the blood while a person's heart and lungs are being worked on. It's funny because about 12 years ago, a perfusionist was somebody that a nurse that they kind of just say, all right, we can train you to do this. And now it's a specialized field. Also, respiratory care is another one. I bring that up because of with this COVID, nobody knows this long-term effects with COVID. And a respiratory therapist is something that eventually these long-term effects of COVID is going to be affecting you and me. It's like, if we got it, it's going to be affecting us. And a respiratory therapist is going to be, kind of handling us. Also, our business management and our criminology. Criminology is cool because at Carlow, and business management, you actually get a chance to do 3 interns. You start your interns after your sophomore year. So we get a chance to take away that catch-22 that a lot of students encounter where they got the degree, but they don't have the experience. And, Dave, you know how that goes where you're trying to apply for a job and they're like, man, you know what? We love your resume, but you don't have no experience. Like, we take that away at Carlow. So we're small, but we're mighty. And, we're able to do things like that. We're able to get just as many interns as Pitt, Duquesne, Robert Morris, and so on. And we're able to get you a small class sizes with the average class size being about 15 to 20 students. And that's in your core classes. So when you get to, that's in your concentration. That's in your core classes. So when you get into your concentration, you might have 8 to 10 students. You know what I mean? So you really can't beat what you get at Carlow. And like I tell students, it's a gift and a curse. Like when I went to school, I was known for my last 4 digits of my social, 5628. Carlow, you're going to get a text from your professor saying, hey, I missed you in class. Hey, because we are so small.
Let me ask this. Carlow also has the program set up where if you want your choice, you can take classes at Pitt, Carnegie Mellon, and Chatham, right?
Absolutely. We have a Peachy program. So basically what Peachy is, it's called Pennsylvania Commission for Higher Education. So you can take classes at Pitt, Duquesne, Robert Morris, Chatham, CMU, all covered on your Carlow tuition. You know what I mean? So if there's a class that's not offered at Carlow, you can take that there. Like, for example, a lot of our education students that want to study phys ed, they take phys ed classes at Carlow. At Pitt. Their phys ed classes, they got a Pitt ID, go to game, like all the extra amenities that a Pitt student gets, and they get Carlow tuition. But here's the catch, though: it's all covered on it's all on their Carlow transcript. So it's not like they got to call Pitt and say, I took these classes there, give me my transcript. No, it's all under the Carlow transcript.
Nice.
And for some engineering students, to go to Carlow, play at Carlow, and to study engineering at CMU at Carlow prices.
Yeah, there you go.
It could be a nice discount.
Yeah, because we know that's a big discount because, if you going to CMU, you coming off a nice little penny.
Yeah. So there's ways you can manipulate things, what I mean? But like I said, there's nothing like Carlow, the intimacy of Carlow, the professors that you get with Carlow. Like I said, we're a teaching-based university where our professors, they do research, but they do research with their students. What I mean? Whereas a research-based university, I don't want to call out any university, but research-based university, the professors get paid based on their research, and they have a lot of teaching assistants. So,
Yes.
you know what I mean? So when you look at Carlo, you're going to know your professors. It's not uncommon for the president of the university to be in our cafeteria sitting down talking to you. You know what I mean? It's not uncommon for those things. You know what I mean? It's not uncommon to see the president of our university or the vice presidents and things like that at our basketball games and sitting there saying, hey, and calling you by name. It's you know, and I don't think you see those things at bigger universities. So, and I think that's what makes us unique. It's not uncommon for our president to say, hey, I know person B, and make a call for a recommendation to get you down at, you know, the FBI building on 2nd Avenue, or the call to get you a recommendation down at BNY Mellon. So that's our differences.
That's nice, man. And that's a good look. So for people that would want to reach out to you and are interested in building relationship, whether it be AAU directors, because you're going to have some people that are watching this show, especially on the women's side, how can they get in contact with you on Twitter, or how can they get in contact with you?
Oh man, I mean, the best thing, man, you can hit me up on my number, my cell. I'll give you my cell real quick on the line.
You sure about that?
Well, let me put it like this. My Google Voice. Let me put my Google.
Okay, okay.
like I have a cell that you have, Dave, and I have.
Okay, I was about to say, boy, you'll have about 500 phone calls before the night's over.
No, I have a Google Voice, my brother. Like,
okay.
So with my Google Voice, like, let me give you that number. Let me pull that up for you. So here, real quick. Let's see. Yeah, so that number is 412-589-9285. You can hit me up on that, send a text, and I'll repeat that, 412-589-9285.
How can they reach you on Twitter? How can they reach you on Twitter? How can they reach you on Twitter?
Coach Dave Gorton. Coach Dave Gorton on Twitter. Also, you can email me at dlgorton@carlo.edu, man. So if there's any questions that you have, anything that you want to know about our program, anything that you want to know about our new women's program, like I said, man, we're gonna make a lot of noise this year. We got a lot of top guards, man. That's really going to impact our season, man. You know, we're gonna have that Celtic chaos going on, man. Fast, feisty, and physical basketball. The way we play it up north, Dave, you know how it is. So you know how it is. So we're gonna get it going, man. So like I said, if there's any questions that y'all may have, man, please reach out. Like I said, I gave you my info. Please reach out. Dave, you have my info. If you want to hit up Dave and you can forward it to me. I don't want to put more on you, but whatever you can do. Whatever Hoops Hitting Gems events coming up, we'll be down there. I know Dave and I talked about off camera about, you know, in March and June, July, coming down to Dallas for a couple things. And I definitely got that on my calendar to come down. But yeah, man, check us out. Check out our Carlo website at carlo.edu/athletics. You know, you can check out our schedule, some of our game recaps and things like that. Our SID Karina does a great job. We have a new AD that's doing a great job. There's a lot of great things going on in Carlo. And Pittsburgh's a great place to be, man. It really is. It really is a great place for students. There's a ton of opportunities for students coming out of college. You know, and I don't just say Carlo as a place that I work at. My kid go there. My daughter goes to Carlo. So I practice what I preach with, and I believe in education, Dave. I really do.
Absolutely, man. I'm definitely proud of you, man. You know, to see you moving up, man. You know, hey, listen, keep doing your thing, man. You know, you're always going to be family on this show, man. You keep working, you know, whatever I can do to support, man, I'm here for you, man. And like I said, I'll be up there this weekend. I look forward to seeing you all, man.
I can't wait to see you back, man. You know, back to our Perry days, man. Perry Pride, man. I love you, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. The platform that you're providing for these students, man. I hope they really understand what you're doing and how important you are. You know what I mean? I hope, you know what I mean, the coaches down there really understand what you're doing and what you are with your man of AAU, man. And I can't wait for them to impact, you know, Carlo University.
Definitely, man. I'm looking forward to it, man. Listen, man, we're definitely going to stay in touch, man. And whatever I can do to help, man, I'm here for you, man. And I'll see you. I'll see you Saturday, man. Okay.
Saturday, yep. All right,
Yes,
brother.
sir. All right, man. You take care, man. It's Coach Thornton, man, on the women's side, man. Very good guy, man. He's going to build that women's program and do some big things. Man, my next guest, man, we bump heads so much. This guy, he's a worker. He's definitely a worker. So anytime I'm looking up and I'm at a JUCO event or any type of event, he supports my events, and I appreciate him as well. We got Coach Carl Little from Austin Peay University. How you doing today, brother?
What's going on, Dave? I'm good, man. How are you?
Man, just getting back from Orlando. You know how it is, man. The hustle doesn't stop, man. It was Dallas last week. The weekend before that, it was Corey Black's event. The weekend before that was my event. And, my son is going on a visit next week. So actually next week is not per se a evaluating week. It's my son, because he's a senior this year. So it's a little bit of everything, man. But, man, well, we've been in contact even before you got to Austin Peay, and, just following the progression of everything you're doing, man. I always smile when I see anybody making moves, man, and so happy for you, man. But I want people to know more about Austin Peay right there in Clarksville, Tennessee, man. Tell us about Austin Peay.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Austin Peay is great, man. I think it's a hidden gem. We got the job last year. We got a new arena coming with a practice facility, partner with the Nashville Predators. It's a great institution in Tennessee. It's military friendly as well. It's right by Fort Campbell. So we have a lot of military students that come through there as well. Basketball wise, I'm working with Coach Nate James. He spent, all his career at Duke. So what we're trying to do is, we're trying to build something special here at Austin Peay, man. And I think that, with the support that we have from the community, the support that we have from the administration, and the caliber of players that we're bringing in, that, this place is going to be, the next big thing that you hear about. We spent countless hours thinking on how we can, make this thing better. And I think our facilities are going to be second to none. The partnership with the Nashville Predators, and the things that they're doing to help enhance us and then help enhance our student athletes, really takes us to the next level.
Listen, and I'm very familiar with Austin Peay. One of the top trainers in Atlanta is an Austin Peay grad, Nick Staples, who's one of the best trainers. So you know Nick. So if you trained by Nick will have you right. He will definitely have you right. And one of my good friends from my hometown of Pittsburgh actually went to Austin Peay. Tyrone Beck, 6'9" forward. He spent 2 years there as well. So I've been knowing about Austin Peay for 30 plus years. And, with it being right outside of Nashville, I'm very familiar with it as well. And, what I wanted people, and why I brought you on the show is, what is Austin Peay known for from a major standpoint? If I go to Austin Peay, what type of majors do they offer?
I think our biggest one is business.
Okay.
Our business school, excuse me. Our business school is one of the best, man. We kind of partner, with a lot of industries here. Like in Clarksville alone, we got Google, we got Lenovo, there's some of the top tech companies that, kind of partner with the school for internships and things of that nature here. Our business department do a lot with, getting kids with business attire, putting them in front of people that is going to help them have a career after, they finish school, whether, maybe playing sports or you're not playing sports, you're just a student. I think the connections that's built, will help you get to where you want to in your career. So with that is sports management, marketing, and the partnership with that NHL team, the Nashville Predators, that helps out to get internships and things of that to put our students in the best position to be successful.
Okay. Good. And what sports management is one of those. I've been harping on the sports management majors because what people are failing to understand, there are opportunities outside of basketball, Coach Little, and that are paying well. And it's not just coaching. If you want to go into communications, if you want to go, there's a number of opportunities that you could take advantage of with that sports management. And a lot of people are not paying attention. I'll give you a great example today. They just announced Charles Barkley just signed a $200 million deal with TNT.
Absolutely. Yep.
Hey, man, that should open some eyes right there. It should
Yep.
open some eyes.
Absolutely,
And,
man.
and I'm just looking at this like I really want kids to understand, take advantage of this opportunity. I've been going out to some media days and, I've been interviewing kids. And of course, we all have aspirations when we're in college. But one of the things I keep hearing is, I want to go pro, I want to go pro. And I would never put a kid on the spot, but I always want to ask, what's your backup plan? Because those chances, it's already less than 7% of high school kids going to play college basketball. And you're talking about kids that go pro. Now we're talking less than 1%.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so I always want to say, well, hey, what's that backup plan after this ball stops bouncing in anywhere from 2 to 4 years?
Absolutely. And even if you go pro, like what's the the real average longevity of your career? You know what I mean?
4 years, something like
Or
that.
I think it's like maybe 4 to 6 years. Like just say high end, you have a 6-year career. You come out of college at 23, 24. Now you're 30. What's next?
There you
what is
go.
next? Would you going back to school to try to finish your degree, or and a lot of kids that we try to talk to is like, hey, what do you want to major in? Like, general studies and all that stuff. Like, it's going to get you to where you can play, but when it stop, what is it really getting you? You know what I mean? And even talking to kids to go to junior college that's trying to make it up to the next level. Hey, man, try to get yourself get yourself into a major that's one is going to transfer all your credits, and two that it's something that when you go to school you can work in once you get to that 4-year college. But I think we got to do a better job of presenting those opportunities. So like when you ask a kid and they say want to play pro, I ask the kid, what are you doing now? How are you operating as a pro right now? Like,
I like that. I like that.
Me and Coach James this past weekend in Orlando, we went to the Magic game. And then after the game, them guys lifting weights. We went back there to talk to a few former Duke players, and they lifting weights. Like they just played a full game now. And now they back there lifting weights, getting stretched out, getting ready, for the next move. That's pro stuff. So like, what are you doing now to carry yourself as a pro? Because there's certain things you can do. Like you got your classes, obviously, but what are some things that you're doing? Are you working on your body? Are you putting the right things in your body? Are you getting your rest at night? You getting the extra shots up? You in the weight room? Like, do you study film? Like, can you remember a play? Like different stuff like that you can control,
And man, you hit it right on the head right there. A lot of people don't understand what it takes to be a pro. And what you don't understand is you can't rely on just athletic ability. Shoot, when you get to college, the good majority are athletic or just as athletic as those high school freshmen. And a lot of those guys get the shock of their life when they come on campus and they're 6'3", 6'4". Well, there's guys 6'8" and 6'9" that are just as quick as you are and as athletic. So what you did at that high school when you were possibly all region or all conference or even possibly all state, that does not mean you're going to come in here and put up 25. It doesn't mean you're going to play.
Absolutely. You got to work, man. You're going to hit that little freshman wall. Every freshman does. And it's like, what's next? Like, now it's time to push through the wall,
Exactly. I couldn't agree with you more. So let's talk about Austin Peay's team for this year. Let everybody know what conference is Austin Peay playing for the people that don't know.
We just moved conferences. We're going to be in the ASUN this year. Was in
Atlanta.
Year, so Hitting the ASUN it's a new conference, for us to learn. Our football team is playing in it right now, so it's been pretty good. Kind of changes up our travel a little bit, but I think it's with all of the movement going around now. The ASUN not the ASUN of old. It's it's a pretty competitive league. Looking at the rankings that just came out, it's ranked the number 21 conference in the nation. Out of 33. So, it's pretty tough with all of the movement. And I think a lot of, it's going to be some great basketball this year.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask this as well. And I know the answer, but I'll let you go ahead and put this out. Do you take JUCO players?
Yes, we do. We take JUCO players. I was there this weekend looking for, and I tell a lot of people, I was like, with the transfer portal, JUCO is about to get really competitive.
Yes, it is.
I think it was, it was competitive before, but it's really going to get competitive with the kids that's leaving. I think it was like 46% of kids that went into the portal didn't have anywhere to go. So I'm pretty sure
they find a home. Exactly.
Pretty sure they found a JUCO, because a kid that's leaving D2 that was probably really good. A D1, I'm not recruiting a D2. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be able to go see a JUCO, be able to go get in their practices. So a lot of those kids are, transferring to the JUCOs to kind of boost their recruitment up. So we definitely take junior college kids.
And I wanted to bring that up because we're still going through COVID, and with us still going through COVID, a lot of programs are preferring to go older with transfer portal than JUCO. So for a lot of these high school kids that are trying to hold out to February, March, April, you're going to be out of luck.
You're going to be out of luck. You're going to be in prep school, or you're going to be a level
in JUCO.
Yeah. Right.
But I want to touch this. I want to get your opinion even more on this. Some of these kids, what people don't understand, a lot of these JUCO D1s, it's close to you getting the mid-major to high major. So a lot of those guys aren't ready for that. And I wanted to touch this and get your opinion on it. Some of these guys are going to need to go JUCO D2 and JUCO D3.
Absolutely. When they get, it's the realization of it. Like, you got Division I level athletes and players, 4-year NCAA Division I players that playing at that junior college level.
Exactly.
You see that high school kid come out in his body, not right. Don't really know how to run, a team or a set, just depending on what position that they play. It's going to be a wake-up call for them. Like, man, I thought junior college would, no, it's tough. Like, you got to play. Like, you got to be physical. It's a high-level basketball here, and we saw that with all of the teams. And that was just, they had 2 going on at one time. We couldn't make it to the one in Colorado, but you had one in Colorado.
The Rocky Mountain Jamboree.
You had the one in Orlando that we were at. So, I mean, and you
missed one. They had the Midwest one in Southern Illinois.
Yep, missed that one too. Yes, I mean, like, it's, with the, kids got to realize, like, you got to work at every level that you have. I started my coaching career for college at D2 at Columbus State in Columbus, Georgia.
Yes, sir.
High level basketball. We was in the NCAA tournament 3 consecutive seasons. So, I think it's just more of the education, and even talking to coaches when they, more be like, man, coach, he D1 or he high major, okay, I hear that, but at least hear me out,
But see, Coach Little, what people fail to understand, boy, you opening up some can of worms today. The Peach Belt. The Peach Belt is one of the toughest D2 conferences in the country. Yes. People don't even understand that. And what people don't understand, the top D2 teams in the Peach Belt will beat a number of D1 teams.
When I was there at Columbus State, we beat Stetson with the team that we had. We beat Stetson, like the Division I team, and it was hard to get Division I games after that. Coach Moore there, he's doing a great job. Like, he was close with College of Charleston a few years ago. So now it's tough. Like, people just, it's the exposure, man. Like, a lot of people don't understand, like, hey, you can have the same experiences at D2, D3, NAIA. Look, everybody has a national championship that they're
Mhm.
competing for. Like
Yep.
Division II has a national tournament. Like the 64 teams, just like Division One. Like it don't come with all the bells and whistles and the TV and all of that stuff like that. But you're gonna compete at a high level. You can still be a national champion. So you just got to choose the right place for you as a player and as a fit. And I saw the last coach that was on here talking about how the AAU coaches do be pushing kids to certain places that might not be a great fit for them, but it makes your
Mhm.
program, your AAU program, look good. Looks a lot better saying, hey, this kid went to Missouri or he went to this place, but he's probably a mid-major kid. You know what I'm saying? If he was going to have a great career, be happy and want to play. Now he's not in the portal trying to find
Mhm.
somewhere to go because he's where he really should have been from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Where he's going to be happy.
But Coach Little, let's again, another can of worms you did opened up, because a lot of times, you're at all these events and you see a number of these kids, and when you see some of these kids go higher than really what they should, a lot of times we'll say it quietly and be like, he's going to be in the portal in 1 or 2 years.
Man, listen, I'm gonna just use a scenario from this past weekend. Me
Okay.
and my coach is watching a kid we really love. Think he can be a great kid for us. So I go talk to the coach after the game, and the coach told me, like, Coach, he high major, man. You can try to talk to him, but he high major. And I'm like, okay, all right. From what I'm seeing though, you know, I think he can be a very great player for us, and you never know what may happen. Like as a coach, I don't think you should never turn nobody off. You know what I mean? It's like that just
Yeah.
happened. Like this was
But
Saturday.
then he wants to upsell you though after
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
then he wants to
It don't
upsell you.
work out. Oh man, this man coach. Like if I really didn't like the kid, then some coaches will hold that against your program. That
Mhm.
later on go, okay, you tried to big time me because you didn't think that, hey, we had this going on here. Like,
Mhm.
you know, and I'm like, I tell coaches, look, man, my boss is a 3-time national champion as a head coach right now. Like, it ain't many
Mhm.
out there that has won as a player and as a coach. You know what I mean? So, like, he knows what high level basketball and high level program how it's supposed to be operated. And regardless of where we are, we're trying to operate high level. So, don't try to big time because it don't make your program look good.
But see, Coach, here's the problem with that. The problem is people don't do the research. So if you approach me and say, "Hey, we're really interested in the kid," I should be able to blow you away and be like, "Well, Coach, I don't know if that should be a fit. You guys run that 1-4 set, and I don't see that being a fit for him." If I can
Yeah,
come to you like that, then you can say, "You know what? I respect that, but we think he can work if we make some adjustments." I'm like,
exactly.
"Well, I've watched you, and you just signed 2 commits, one in his position, and you're looking at another one for 24. If I can talk to you like that,
It's a
now we
different
talking
it's a different
business. You
conversation.
respect me." You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
It's a different
Not just,
conversation.
"Oh, coach, he high major." Again, that's a turn off, number one. But number two, if people are actually doing the research and if they're in this for the best interest of the kid and not the program, so to
Yeah,
speak.
absolutely.
That's what it comes down to, and that's when it gets real. Because, like you said, yes, this all becomes fit. Yeah, this kid may have high major potential, but his best fit may be at an A-Sun school. It may be at a Big South school. It may be at a Southland school where he can put up those numbers. Because now we're going to take a step back even further and say, hey, if you're trying to go pro, you got to show some production. You got to show some numbers.
You gotta have numbers, and
Mm-hmm.
we had a recent pro before we got the job, a kid, Terry Taylor, that kid that was here in Austin P for 4 years. Now he's about to be a rotation player for the Pacers. Went
Mm-hmm.
G League, worked his way up, got a call up, and Rick Carlisle loves him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but if you don't, like you say, do your research, you don't know. Oh man, they got a recent pro in the NBA from the school that I'm talking to that put up numbers, had opportunity, and put up numbers here. Like You can come and average a double-double, or you can go be high major and average 5 and 8, and then
There you
figure
go.
out what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? You're like, man, I wish I would have. Now you're trying to figure out what your next move's gonna be when it's time to graduate. You know,
Mhm.
but to each his own. I'm not gonna get on a soapbox about that, but I just think that it does a disservice to the player.
Yes,
Because some
100%.
coaches
Yes.
get turned off. Some coaches would get turned off if you didn't do, I'm not one. I mean, I understand you trying to, build a name for your program. I get it, so I don't try to hold that against players, because they don't have anything to do. They probably don't even know that's
Exactly.
you
That
know what I mean?
that's
They
the
don't even
problem
know.
right there. Coach Little, that is the problem. That kid probably had no idea Austin P is interested unless you just reached out on Twitter or reached out to his parents, whatever the case may be. But a lot of times, a lot of these so-called conversations are killed right there at the coach. And the kid has no idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
No idea. And I know if it was me, if I was in your shoes, a lot of those times I just have to walk around the coach and be like, man, let him tell me, no, you move to the left, please.
Yeah. And you try to be respectful, man. You try to
Yes.
get a coach's because I'm a coach myself. So
Yes.
I understand like when you got all the players and all the players that's, or I would say the shot callers that's surrounding a kid and as a
Yeah.
and as a coach, you really don't have a say. You know what I'm saying? Like in it.
Yeah.
So whenever a coach has I have an opportunity to talk to a coach, I'm gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Out of respect.
And it
Um,
should be that
because I
way.
know so many people hands, depending on the kid, there's
Oh
so many
yeah.
people hands in it. So I try to get the coaches their respect and do what I can to talk to them because sometimes you get some good intel like that too.
Let me ask you this. And so you're leading into a lot of these questions. When you're at a JUCO jamboree, whether it be Texas, Orlando, or whatever the case, what makes you say that's an Austin P kid? That's a kid that can play at our university.
One, I look for character. Our coach want high character kids.
Mhm.
Two, does he play hard? Are you coachable? Um, what type of abilities that you have? Do you have? Are you a great teammate? Different things like that. Because if I'm looking at you and you didn't caught my eye, obviously you can play, right? So
Mhm.
now, okay, he can play, but let me see how he interacts with his teammates. Let me see how he take correction from his coach. You know what I mean? Let me see how he take correction from his teammates when they tell him he's supposed to be somewhere and stuff on the floor. Like these are all the things like okay, if he's doing this here, he probably gonna do it to us. You know what I mean? It's like it becomes a
Yeah.
habit. You know what I mean? So, I just try to make sure that I check all the box before I bring it to my boss, because it's gonna make it look like, all right, you want to deal with this kid every day, you know. And then from there, you try to go how is he in class, how the grades looking. Everybody has struggles. Like,
Sure.
starting off young, I wasn't the best student either, but how are you receptive to, somebody telling you that? Like, hey, you got to put in the extra work, you got to put in the extra time. So, I
Mhm.
think, once you pass the eye test and can play, I think now is that next, all right, let me see when stuff not going your way. Let me see how
Those
you
intangibles.
let me see those intangibles. Like, okay, you're not getting the ball. Okay, are you going to dominate the boards, or are you going to take charges? Or are you going to sacrifice for the team? You're going to be a coach pull you out of the game. You sitting on the sidelines. You're going to get in your feelings. So I'll give you a few minutes to get in your feelings, and then afterwards, okay, do you snap out of it and start cheering your teammates on when a good play happened, or are you kind of worried about yourself? So those are some of the things that I kind of look at before I even bring him to my boss. You know what I mean? Because it's like at the end of the day, it's your reputation as a recruiter and as a coach,
Yes.
and you want to make sure you're bringing the right kids for your culture into your program.
I couldn't agree more with you. And it's just a lot of kids don't understand when you get to this level, it's those small things that are going to stick out to make you put a check next to his name or circle it or what have you to get to an Austin P, to get to those type of schools. And it's not true. for Columbus State or Clayton State to circle your name. So let's just keep it where we're at right now. And the way basketball is going, those schools are doing the same thing. They're operating their whole programs like D1s, and their expectations are the same as well. So, you can go ahead and try and mold, like you said, or you don't have that motor. Like, I'll give you an example. Coach Alexander at Clayton State. Man, that guy's polished. He just came from Rice. He was the head associate coach at Rice. So what makes you think he's going to expect not the same D1 mentality that he just came from? Coach Moore, great reputation, same thing. And they're putting guys overseas as well, which is a whole nother conversation we can have. Because like you said, if you're not putting up those numbers, whether it's high major, mid major, low D1, high D2, when you're talking PSAC, Peach Belt, Lone Star State, you're talking CIAA, you're talking those type of programs where they had some killers. And people just, oh, well, if I drop down, I'm going to hit them for 20. I'm an average 30. No, you're not.
And it's a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call for them. Like, man, it's tough basketball here. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And, and I'm glad, like, you worked your way up through the rankings from Columbus State to NC Central over to Austin Peay. So you see all of this. You're living it. You're living proof of it to see all of this. And, I know sometimes it got to be hard sometimes for these young kids that think they know it all. And you trying to tell them, young man, listen, you got a long way to go. You have potential, yes. But are you there? Not even close.
Yeah.
And in their mind, oh, coach is tripping. He don't like me.
Yeah, like, Dave, you brought up something great, man. College is the first place that a kid has been told the truth about their game. Think about it.
That. Yes.
Think about it. The way the kids are moving schools, from high schools, middle schools, whatever, things don't go this way with this coach right here. I'm going to this school. I'm going to this school. I'm going to this school. Or this AAU program ain't let me play my game, so I'm going to this AA program. Now you get to college. Now you told the truth about your game. Hey, my man, you probably a 2-dribble guy at this level. And hey, man, that's not bad. Like, this guy's in the NBA making millions being a 2-dribble guy. They know it. And they okay with it. They understand they're going to be really great at those 2 dribbles and shooting, but that's the first place that they've been told the truth that, hey, everything ain't all like, roses. Like, so now you told the truth. Now you mad because somebody finally told you the truth, bro. So they probably should have told you this high school. So you could have probably adjusted, did what you need to do to get better in the summertime. I didn't make this AAU team. So you probably should work on your game. You know what I'm saying? Some deficiency somewhere. When do kids get a chance to work on their game now? Think about it. They playing AAU spring, they playing AAU summer, now they got a fall league, now you're in your regular league. When do you have a chance to really work on your game? Like, to get better? When is the time to get better? If you think about it,
in between, yeah.
Like, kids are playing a full like NBA season, 80-some games in a year. And then they wonder why they get to college. Oh man, my knees, my ankles. Like, it was, it's different. You know what I mean? It's like, it's no like time for like skills. So when you come and somebody tell you the truth that you need to work on something, it's a tough pill to swallow. Like, man, I ain't heard this in 18 years. There's a lot of people that's been pacifying you, my man. Like,
but that go back to character though. Like, take that constructive criticism. You're not trying to kill him, because if he wasn't that, he wouldn't be at Austin Peay or whatever program. You're trying to say, hey, this is how you get better. This is your niche. Embrace your role. Embrace your role.
Exactly.
That may get you to the league.
Exactly. Shooting, man. Like, work on shooting. Like, athleticism is going to leave. Shooting. Work on shooting. Work on, like, it's some kids don't know how to find the laces on the ball when they shoot. Like, coach, that take too much time. Really? Well, I seen Ray Allen knock down thousands of threes, finding the laces every single time, and it looked good leaving. So obviously worked on it. You know what I'm saying? Like shooting is a lost art for some, right? The
Absolutely.
right, you know what I mean? So, it's just a different time. You got to be adaptable as a coach these days. You got to be adaptable. And I thank God for being, I'm a retired military person, man. So you always got to be able to adapt, as a leader. So I think that's one of the, the leadership qualities that I've been blessed with, to be able to be adaptable. You know what I'm saying? Get the best out of people.
I agree with you, yes. But to me, there's still some old school, and you gotta have some of them old school principles that you have to stick by. Yes, you have to adapt because yes, some things are different, but some principles are non-negotiable.
Yeah, you definitely got your non-negotiables.
Yeah.
You always had it in every program. You got your non-negotiables.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by being adaptable, some old school way is like, because I said so. I grew up in the
Bobby Knight era.
I said so. I told you to do this. This is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Now you got to find. Now with these kids in this generation, you got to tell them the why. If you give them the why, they'll probably run through the wall for you, because now they understand why. Like even as in the military, man, like when we going on missions, and I got to tell you why. I got to tell you we're doing this not because I told you to do it as your commander. This is the why behind it. Now you can embrace it. You feel a part of it. Now I don't have to worry about you really buying in, because I've given you the why. You know what I'm saying? Like
Absolutely.
that is the difference now. Even with parenting, man, like even with I got a teenage son, so I got to give him the why. Like I couldn't ask my parents why. Like no way. You know what I'm saying? Like because I said so was the thing. But now, like kids are curious. They have a little bit more access to information than we had. So when they ask those questions, why, take a little bit more patience, to explain, so the thorough understanding and get buy-in. Like key is like getting the kid to buy in, to what you're trying to do.
So what's the expectation this year for Austin Peay and the A-Sun?
Man, we're trying to improve on what we did last year. We won 12 games last year. Obviously, we definitely want to be better than that. I think with the team that we got this year, we're extremely talented. We're still gelling, still a work in progress. We're really athletic. The biggest thing I thought for us is keeping our big man. He was the freshman of the year last year in the OVC. That was a blessing, because most kids that perform well at the mid-major, they hitting that portal. You know what I mean? So, they want to say, okay, let me see what I can do at the Power 5 level. So I think the relationships that was built with the young man, and him having success, being able to retain him was great. And then some of the additions that we got from the portal, JUCO, like we got some different, high school kids that we kind of, snuck in and got, that we probably in any other year outside of the portal probably wouldn't have went to Austin.
When the guy
did, but wants to play. I think we're gonna be really competitive in the league. They picked us ninth. Obviously, we don't think we're ninth, but we're gonna try to do what we can to be, finishing at top. And I think that's what everybody wants to do. But we feel really good about this team this year. I think we'll be a great show for the school and the community to come out and support. It's our last season in the Dunn Center, so we're kind of trying to make it, special and full of memories, and bring all of the, former Austin Peay players, back into the fold, and create that brotherhood, to where they can feel like, hey, this is my home. I can come back. I'm a part of it. I know what's going on in the program. They surrounding the guys and just letting them know what it means to be a Governor. And to compete at a high level, because Austin Peay got championships, OVC championships from years.
Yes, they do.
I think we're trying to restore that glory that we had as a program, our past. And I think that we on the right track.
Definitely, I couldn't agree more. I mean, one thing I know I can vouch for, I know you out there putting in the work, trying to find those kids that are going to be Austin P caliber. I know that, and I commend that. Game recognized game when you out there grinding, and when I'm seeing your face just as much as I'm seeing my own on a regular basis, man. I mean, listen, I look at it. It's only going to be a matter of time before that culture and that team camaraderie that you're looking for to take you guys to the next level. It's coming. It's definitely coming.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, listen, and you're always a friend of this show, man. I love what you guys are doing up there. I'm gonna take a look at that schedule to see if I can get. I'm gonna hit up the SID to see if I can get a media credential to check you guys out, man. Because
any game you want to come to, let me know, man. I got you.
I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it, man. And you're one of those guys. You're respected in the business. And like I said, I call you a great friend of mine. What you're doing up there, man. And I'm just wishing you well, man. Because I brought you on the show because I knew you was going to tell the truth. There are these kids that don't know what it is, and they know what it is now. And I've been telling these high school kids, listen, if you have something between now and next month, you need to take it before January.
If you're watching the show, take it. Don't wait. Don't wait, my man. You're gonna be disappointed because come time in that spring, that's when that portal is opening. And we're looking at that portal. Most 90%, I would even say every level, not just Division I.
Absolutely.
Every level is looking into the portal.
Yeah.
So if you have some and it's a fit, you love it, parents. If you find a place for your son or even your daughter, if you're watching it, and it's a place that you feel that they can matriculate as a young person and grow, be good as a player, have a successful career, get a degree, be a successful citizen in the world, take it.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, especially if you create that connection with the staff and the university and you feel like it's it, that's the best place.
Hey, man, that right there, I'm probably going to clip that and replay it because I'm harping on this for these 2023s. Like, take it or you're going to be stressed out in May or June.
Yeah. It's all about fit, man. And, regardless of where you end up, you want to have a successful career. You want to be with a coaching staff that's going to help you grow as a young man. That's going, because when you get out into the world, when you leave college, you in the world. The world gonna tell you the truth, who you are. And you don't want that the very first time, that you're being told the truth. You want to be able to handle adversity early, because in the world you can't run. There's no more transfer.
You can't run, but Coach Little as well, know how to pivot, dust yourself off and get up and say, okay, I messed up.
Yeah, and get up. Even as a young person, hey, you deal with adversity. All right, I'm probably not gonna do that no more. Let me figure this thing out. Life. It's life lessons that you can carry on.
Absolutely. Brother, listen, I appreciate you so much, man. Any way I can support, man, I'm a phone call away, man. And keep doing your thing up there, man. It's a pleasure having you on the show. This definitely won't be your last time coming on.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate it, man. I appreciate everything that you're doing, helping these players, these kids, providing your platform to help them to grow. We need more people like yourself, man, that's gonna, one, tell kids the truth, and two, provide opportunities for kids to be seen, helping programs grow, and then helping young men and young women get to where, the best location for them, man. So I appreciate you. Much love, brother. Keep doing your thing, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. We'll be talking real soon because might be something brewing for you.
Okay, absolutely. I appreciate it, man. My social media handle, man, you can hit me on Twitter. It's at Coach CL_APSU. You can DM me. I answer my DMs. That's probably why the message that I put out yesterday about kids, changing the coach name, change the name. I understand kids, you're trying to get recruited, just make sure, or just say put coach, but don't put the wrong name and then come back and say, oh, coach, my bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Do the right thing. But you can reach me on that. I'm only on Twitter. I'll get back with you. We can talk, chat, anything you need, guidance outside of basketball. I'll be there to help you out.
And that's big right there because, that lets people know it's more than just basketball. And that's what it's supposed to be. It's about getting these young men and women, showing them the way, whether it be, whether it's going to be a field in athletics or if it's going to be outside of that. And you would having a military background, shoot, people understand what it is. Like, the pros and cons to all of that.
I will just take 5 minutes on that, right? Do you mind?
No, not at all.
Okay,
not
listen.
at all.
People don't understand in the military, like we have high level basketball. I was the all Army men's basketball coach from 2013 to 2019. That's the 12 best players in all of the Army. And we go and compete against the other branches for your gold medal, bragging rights amongst the services. And then from there, we pick 12 people from all 4 branches, or 5 with the Coast Guard, and make a USA team. I was blessed enough to coach that team in 2017. We went undefeated, went overseas, played German pro teams, and then we went to the international tournament in Belgium and went undefeated in that tournament. But it's the 12 best, players in all of the military. And then every 4 years, they had the military world games. It's just like the Olympics. So now you're playing against the world and you're competing for a gold medal. So you have those same opportunities that you're trying to live out your college, your basketball dreams and things of that nature. It's the same opportunities in the military because college ain't for everybody coming right out of high school. You go there, do your 4 years, play basketball. I played basketball. I was in 21 years. Every year I was in the military, I was either playing basketball because every base has a basketball team, traveling around, or I was coaching. But every year, it's opportunities there for you that's not really publicized like that. Like most of the armed services teams are going into training camp this week. The tournament is in San Diego. So they're going into training camp this week. Guys like 20 guys go to camp for 12 slots. So, every year that's that opportunity there in every sport that you play, not just basketball, soccer, softball, wrestling. If you track and field, you got an opportunity if you're a track and field to go to the Olympics if you make the qualifying time. Like opportunities are there for you. So don't turn that button off.
Big. Yeah. And so let me shoot. Like you didn't open up more can of worms now. So how would they go about that though? Like, of course you're gonna say, okay, I'm gonna go enlist. But if you really have these aspirations, is there something they need to do, or do you need to go to the Army? Do you need to go to the Navy? What would make the most sense?
Yeah, so all 4 branches, well, I think it's 5 now with Space Force, and it was 6 with Space Force with the Coast Guard. All branches have sports, right? So once you enlist, or if you got a degree, don't enlist. I'll tell you to go get a commission, right? If you're already out there, you're trying to find your way, if you graduated college and you go to the recruiter office, tell them you want to be an officer, right? That's because they're not going to sell you that. Why? Because they don't get their quota from officers. They get it from enlisted personnel. So tell them that you want to be an officer. Then once you are in and you get to your first duty station, every duty station has sports, soccer, volleyball, you name it, softball team, and you go and you try out for that team. And then if you're good enough, hey, we got all Air Force, all Navy, all Marines, all Army. It's an application process. All the coaches, they go out and recruit just like college coaches. When I was the head coach, every year, my wife was like, man, you always going, you recruiting again? I was like, yeah, I'm trying to build it. I'm going to different bases, watching tournaments. Like it's a tournament every month. I'm going to trying to find the next person to add to training camp. You know what I mean? So it's like these coaches are out there recruiting just like college coaches at your base, looking for you to see if you are good enough to compete at that higher level. And if not, they're going to tell you, hey, probably not good enough. You probably need to do this to improve and this, that, and the third. So, You know, we did a whole college tour, Dave. Like when I was at Columbus State, I was the head coach of All Army. So we was playing Peach Belt teams. We were playing CIAA teams, SIAC teams, like every year. Yes. And then from there, like the coaches would recruit my players. I would help players when they get out the military to get recruited to college. Hey,
because they still had their eligibility, right? Yeah.
Still had the eligibility. That's the NCAA. Yeah. Once you enlist, the NCAA freezes your clock. So you can do your 4 years, 5 years, and you still have 4 years left. And people don't know that. Like Leonard Hamilton, he recruited a guy that played with me named Bernard James. So Bernard James played at Florida State, but he sent him to Tallahassee Junior College first. He found him at the Armed Forces Tournament. Somebody told him about it at the Armed Forces Tournament. He saw him, recruited him, and signed him. So it's like all of those kid named Denzel Hosh, I helped get to North Georgia. He was at North Georgia first, and then he went to Fayetteville State and had a great career after that. All CIAA player, all that. But he was in the military. Like a lot of these college coaches that I try to put on at the D2 and other levels like that, hey, man, go get you a military kid, a young man that's going to come in and be a leader in your program. He ain't going to cost you a scholarship because he's coming out the military with 4 years of education paid for.
GI Bill.
The scholarship. He got the GI Bill coming in.
Yeah.
He can play. His body's going to be developed, and he's going to be a leader for your young man that's on the team. And that's in every single sport, men's, women's basketball, soccer, softball, you name it. It's opportunities out there. But if you don't, if they don't know about it, you would never understand. So, Division I is a little different because it's a head count sport. So you get X amount of scholarships anyway, but D2 and below, you on a budget. Like NAI, you on a budget. Go out there and learn about these programs and get out there and recruit those type of kids. Get you one or two that's getting out. Hit me on Twitter at CoachCL_APSU. I'll give you every single military tournament that you can go to and put you in contact with the personnel that you need to be in contact with to help your program.
Text me that information, brother.
I will. I got you.
Shoot, text me that, man.
I got you.
Hey,
Dave, I'm one of the founders of the National Military Tournament. We bring in the top 20 teams in the whole country, and it's in San Antonio every year.
And I will be there.
I will text you that information, man, and put you in contact with our tournament director and everything.
The coaches, y'all coaches that are listening, if y'all didn't take that tidbit, because it's going to be clipped and be on Twitter, y'all crazy. Because y'all supposed to be looking under every rock and no stone unturned. He just gave you a good assist right there. Goodness. Look, I'm taking it with no shame. I'm taking it because, even from a recruiting standpoint, as you were talking, I was like, shoot, look, I'm tuned in like I'm a listener. So, man, that's excellent information right there, man. And for a lot of these kids that, sometimes school isn't for them right away, this is the opportunity that you're talking about.
You only have to be active duty. You can be National Guard 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks out the year. Get your school paid for if you don't have school money, so you don't get no loans. I think Corey Black always say D-free. You know what I mean?
D-free. Yes,
that's
sir.
Another way for D-free right there.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like, hey, and parents, stop deterring your kids from that. Like, don't let them get out here and get these loans that they're going to be paying back forever when they got an opportunity to go do 3 years in the reserves or whatever, still live their career and go to school for free and still have their life set up. Like,
absolutely,
that loan business that's not the move. Like, the loan business is not the move on that school, because it's a lot of people that's struggling with that thing 10 to 15 years after they graduate. You know what I'm saying?
Let's take it even a step further. One of the other things, even as you step away from basketball, you got that clearance.
Got that clearance.
You got that clearance. And for the folks that don't, especially you IT folks, you had that clearance. That's a whole nother level right there.
You can come in, go in the reserves, get all of your certifications through IT. 4 years, you're done. 7 to 18 years old, 22, you're done. You got all the certifications you need. Now you're probably making $100,000.
Exactly.
Because you
especially if it's a federal job. Especially if it's a federal job.
Yes. And I'm not a recruiter. Trust me. I'm not a recruiter. Listen, it's not for everybody. Trust me. I've been on the enlisted side and the officer side. You know, I was a drill
Understood.
sergeant before, so I've seen kids coming in there. I was like, yeah, this probably not for you. Yeah, it's probably good for you to go ahead and go home. But for some, it's really good for them. You know what I'm saying? They do their time. Less than 1% serve, right? We get all that. But for some, they miss out on the opportunity because they're not educated on it. You know what I mean? They just hear a recruiter trying to come, oh, you're trying to get me to sign up front lines. No, my man, like every job is not on the front lines. There's some guys I know that has never deployed, like has been in the office for the whole time they've been in. You know what I mean? It's like you just got to get educated and hear it out and be receptive to all options. That's going to help you, one, stay out of debt.
There
Two,
you go.
live your dreams. Live your dreams, you know?
And at the end of the day, like you said, it's an opportunity, and then we'll take it a step further. If it's a fit, take it. If it's a fit. If not, it's not the end of the world. At least you did your research. You know, just
Absolutely.
like we said, every D1 is not a fit. Every D2 and NAI and D3 are not a fit. Find your fit. And you bringing that type of knowledge, and there's somebody that's probably listening right now that's probably already Googling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. And I'm gonna text you that information too, man, so you can share it. And I'm gonna do a
Oh,
better job of sharing that on my page and
absolutely. But
letting people
please
see those
do.
opportunities. You know, that's
Please.
out there, even for coaches, man. Like, hey, take your program to a next level and get that veteran on your team that's getting out looking for an opportunity to play. It's not gonna cost you
Absolutely.
nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It won't cost you anything. School already paid for.
Listen, like I said, that right there, especially you NAI and D2 and D3 coaches, man, listen, that right there, I'd already be calling a meeting tonight to some of my sisters. Listen, we're going to San Antonio. We're going to see what's going on out there.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So, brother, listen, man. I appreciate you because, man, like I said, you're gonna have me up half the night clipping up some of these some of these little tidbits tonight, man. But and I appreciate you. You know, we're gonna stay in contact, man, because you know I want to see what Austin P is doing, and you know we're gonna stay in contact just because, man.
Absolutely, brother. I definitely appreciate you, man. Much love to
Man,
you.
definitely, man. I appreciate you, man. We'll be talking real soon, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, man.
All
Take
right.
care.
All right, you too, bro.
Listen here. For you coaches as well as you players, you all need to do some research. If I was a professor tonight, I'd be telling you all I'll be expecting a paper in 2 days. I'll be expecting the paper because what he dropped tonight, man, please. And you know, Coach Carl dropped it. Yes, sir. I listen. You know, look, Mr. Richardson, I couldn't agree with you more. He dropped some knowledge tonight. And listen, for you people that are going to, you know, watch this on YouTube later on, listen, I'm going to take some of this little clickbait right here and tease it for you guys to definitely watch all of the guests tonight who did a great job. But listen, all of them brought something different. And you know what Coach Little brought is, I mean, he brought that cold, hard facts and truth that, yeah, a lot of y'all are not going to be D1s. Just plain and simple. That's just what it is. It's not going to happen. And at the end of the day, man, I'm telling y'all, take advantage of any opportunity that's worth it. And like my man Corey Black said, you know, it's supposed to be about D-free, but if it's an opportunity that you can run with it. And this is another opportunity. And I'm telling you all, and I'm telling you now, Mr. Richardson, you know, he out here. Coach Little put me on. We'll be in touch too, because I will be checking out that National Military Basketball Tournament. Trust me, I'll be checking that out. That's man, he opened my eyes to that, and I have no shame in saying, listen, I'm all for learning something new, and that's definitely something I want to talk to. So I'll be getting your information from Coach Little. Trust me, we'll be talking real soon. But listen, thank you all for tuning in tonight, all four guests. As usual, I appreciate you guys so much. This has been a great show. It's been a learning one for me as well, and I have no shame in saying that. So until next time, we'll be back next Monday as usual. We got another good lineup because the season's getting ready to start in the next couple of weeks for high school and college. So I'll be all over God's creation as usual, checking out some college games, checking out high school games, and on every level, boys and girls. And this is just a blessing for me. And I'm going to keep doing it and keep trying to spread the good word on this platform. Hopefully, a couple of you guys will take some of this information and use it. And I hope it pans out for all you guys. Listen, this has been a great show. I'm David Jones from Hoops Hitting Gyms. You all take care.